We want to welcome everyone to Fenway Park in Boston for Game 2 of the American League Championship Series. Dick Stockton and Jim Cott. There is Bill Fisher and Dana Kicker, who is the Red Sox starter, and he has to go against the winningest pitcher in baseball this year, Bob Welch. 27 victories, the most victories by any hurler since Steve Carlton won 27 for the Philadelphia Phillies back in 1972.
Yeah, and what Bob Welch has accomplished by adding that forkball to his repertoire and kind of calming down his tempo is he's become a very good big game pitcher for the A's. Now, he has had problems in the early going and postseason play, but his numbers are equal to that of Dave Stewart, who won last night's ball game.
And you talk about Stewart and Welch combined. They won 49 games, and that was the most by two teammates since Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale combined to win 49 games for the Dodgers back in 1965. And, of course, that was the year the Dodgers played your Minnesota Twins in the World Series, and you took them to 7 games.
Wow, and that was the Sandy Koufax show. This, so far, has been the Oakland A's show of postseason play the last couple of years.
Managers have exchanged the lineup cards at home plate. Here are the umpires who are going to work game number 2, calling balls and strikes. John Hirschbeck. Jim Evans will be the umpire at first base. Terry Cooney is at second. Vic Voltaggio is at third. Larry McCoy will umpire down the left field line. And the umpire called balls and strikes last night, Rich Garcia, will be on the line in right field. Last night, a crowd of 35,000 and 192 witnessed game number 1. And it's interesting to note that the Oakland A's were the best draw of any club in the major leagues on the road this year. No surprise.
No surprise at all. People want to come out and see how these guys do it, how they win games. We got a great display of it last night. Good, solid, fundamental baseball.
All right, let's take a look now at the Red Sox in the field.
Now the Red Sox, with their usual lineup, will have Mike Greenwell in left field. Ellis Burks, their best all-around player, is in center. Tom Bernansky had a hot September for them in right field. Wade Boggs, home run in last night's ball game. The Red Sox only run. He's playing third. And Luis Rivera at shortstop. Jody Reed at second base. Carlos Quintana, his first year at first base, has done a good job. And behind the plate, kind of one of the inspirational leaders of this ball club, Tony Pena. On the mound, a remarkable story, 29-year-old rookie Dana Kicker.
With a record of 8 wins and 9 losses, and this is the batting order he'll face tonight for the Oakland A's, and one change, and they've also shifted their batting order. Ricky Henderson will lead off in left field. Willie McGee batting second in center field. Jose Canseco in right, hitting third. Harold Baines, the designated hitter, batting cleanup. That's the way they were last night. Mark McGuire has moved up to number 5. He's at first base. Carney Lansford at third base is hitting 6th. Ron Hasse, who is Welch's favorite catcher, batting 7th. He's in the lineup. Walt Weiss will be the shortstop, hitting 8th, and Mike Gallego will bat 9th. At second base, and Dana Kicker on the mound.
Well, Dick, most of the football games this weekend are over, but there's still one kicker playing, and that's Dana Kicker. And what a opportunity for him to come to the front here in the first chance that he's had to pitch in the major leagues in big games. Here's a guy who had very little success in the minor leagues. Not a power pitcher, but he's been effective against right-hand hitters with that sweeping slider. And one thing to watch for, he's had lots of problems early in the game. Kind of feels his way through the first inning or two. That'll put a little extra heat on Joe Morgan as to how quickly he might have to go to the bullpen.
Kicker is the first rookie to start an LCS game in either league in the last 3 years. 71 degrees as we start. About the same as last night. The wind is blowing out to the left, and hardly a chance of rain. And talking to Tony La Russa during batting practice, he said the wind actually is going out more tonight than it was last night. But he said, you know, it's a strange place now at Fenway Park because, he said, Dave Duncan, my pitching coach, was standing in center field, and he could feel the wind from behind, and yet the ball actually carried, as it did last night when Willie McGee had to go onto the warning track.
Those are things that we pay attention to, but if you're a player, you come out to parks like Fenway Park or Wrigley Field, don't even look at the wind and have it affect what you might do out there in the field. Just take your own game out there regardless of the weather conditions.
Well, a big game for the Red Sox tonight And the Oakland A's not only looking to win the pennant, but they're looking for a second straight world championship. And Ricky Henderson will lead off. He had a couple of hits last night and drove in 3 runs. Stole third as well, and a tremendous threat offensively. Boggs even with the bag at third. Rest of the infield back. First pitch, breaking ball on the corner, strike 1. To Henderson.
Now that's a pitch right there you will see a lot of if Dana Kicker's going to pitch well. He's got that kind of half curve, half slider, we'll call it a slurve, that he throws to most of the right-hand hitters.
On deck is Willie McGee and Jose Canseco to follow. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count to Ricky Henderson. He hit 28 home runs in the leadoff position this year, stole 65 bases, and the top leadoff hitter of his time without question. Ground ball up the middle. Rivera behind the bag makes the play, and there's 1 away. Good pitch by Kicker.
Good start for Dana Kicker, because he's, as we mentioned, the first couple innings been the ones he usually falls behind the hitters. A lot of pitchers do this. They used to think Bert Blyleven tipped off his curveball by doing that. But, hey, if you're a hitter, good enough eyes to pick up a pitcher sticking out his tongue and know what pitch is coming, I'll tip your hat. Tip my hat to you.
He's the baseball version of Michael Jordan. Here's Willie McGee, switch hitter, one of 2 switch hitters in the A's lineup. He was 0 for 4 last night, but he walked, had a sacrifice, and also stole a base. Fastball fouled off to the left, strike 1. McGee came over from the Cardinals. Left hitting .335, and nobody could catch him in the National League. He's the batting crown winner for the 2nd time in that league. Goes to the opposite field, and it's a foul ball into the box seats, and a nice catch by that gentleman.
Another one of the advantages of being at Fenway Park. Look at the quiet hands of Willie McGee. Just watch the ball hit the bat. Uses the whole field. And you just playing a deep third base there. A little juggling act and a souvenir. Great atmosphere for a baseball fan.
McGee can be a free agent at the end of the year. If the A's do lose him, they would acquire an extra first-round pick in the amateur draft. They've done pretty well that way, haven't they? Here's the 0-2 pitch to McGee. Outside.
They've had some great draft choices. They've made some gambles, like this year with Todd Van Poppel, the #1 pick. But it has paid off for them.
Goes after the high pitch and grounds it weakly to second base. Jody Reed makes the play. Henderson and McGee are retired, and there are 2 away in the Oakland first inning. And that'll bring up Jose Canseco. But he's an attraction. They get the boos on the road. Hit 37 homers and drove in 101 runs. Had 1 hit last night and drove in a run. Stole third base. And we talked about how his stance is opened up.
Wow, he looks like he's going to try to pull the ball in foul into the seats down there. That is really wide open.
Ball 1.
And that's by design. Hitting coach Merv Retman said Canseco has opened up a great deal because of the back problem. He's lost a little bat speed, and that open stance helps him get the hands through the hitting zone a little quicker.
There's a sinker that misses low. 2 balls and no strikes.
You know, maybe comparing it to golf, Canseco is taking that Lee Trevino approach. He'll hit more balls to right center than he would if his back were sound.
He's a big investment for that club. He signed a 5-year contract worth $23.5 million. And people like Darryl Strawberry are looking for Jose Canseco dollars these days. 3 balls and no strikes to the A's right fielder. 2 down, nobody on in the top of the first inning. That's in. 3-1. Again, a beautiful night. We've been blessed with weather considered just on the borderline of Indian summer climes here in New England. strike. Crowd is pumped up. They were down very much so after last night's deflated loss.
And that's why I think these early innings are so important. Boy, some great pitches in this first inning by Kicker. 2 of them right there to Canseco.
And he strikes him out. On the breaking ball, 1-2-3 inning for Dana Kicker. He'll breathe easier. A's nothing, the Red Sox coming to bat. And the Red Sox coming up at the first inning, and the A's in the field for the first time.
Oakland will have the same players out in the field as last night. Ricky Henderson, Willie McGee, and Jose Canseco. And then on the infield, Carney Lansford, Walt Weiss, Mike Gallego, and Mark McGuire. But behind the plate a change, that's Ron Hasse, who usually catches Bobby Welch.
Reed, followed by Quintana, then Wade Boggs hitting third. Ellis Burks, Mike Greenwell in left field. Dwight Evans, the DH. Tom Brunansky in right field. Tony Pena behind the plate. Luis Rivera, the shortstop. Same lineup used by Joe Morgan last night. Bob Welch got that earned run average under 3 with a scoring change on the last game of the season.
Boy, he has mentioned his postseason problems, but he has done very, very well in tight ball games this year. Kind of overshadowed by Dave Stewart, but I think he will be the Cy Young Award winner.
Jody Reed leading off, hitless last night with a sacrifice, stepped out, but it was a pitch, and it's taken for ball 1. He might have called timeout, but the umpire did not grant it.
Or Jody Reed may have just relaxed. They're going to make this guy throw strikes early in a ball game. Again, they'll try to lay off the high fastball.
Reed has not had much success against Welsh. Only 1 hit in 14 trips career-wise. He takes a strike there, and the count is even 1-1. If Kicker is calm, cool, and collected, even for a 29-year-old rookie, Welsh is not quite that way.
He's more of a hyper individual, but he's really harnessed that. He's got a much more better handle on his emotions than in past years.
Lansford in on the grass at third. The 1-1 pitch in for the strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes. A 33-year-old right-hander, native of Detroit, Michigan. Ground ball, and Jody Reed is going to be safe at first base as the ball glanced off the glove of Welsh and died there, and Reed will be safe, I believe, with an infield hit.
Well, fielding for a pitcher is strictly reactions. If you're not in position and don't anticipate it, you'll never get the glove down. That's what happens to Bob Welch right there. You see him in a very upright position. Just gets a glove on it. Reed with an infield hit.
Mark McGuire, the first baseman, is holding him on, and that'll bring up Carlos Quintana. 0 for 4 last night. First baseman had a fine year, around 300. Good opportunity for hit and run, but the Red Sox don't do it much. But here they go, and they stay out of the double play because Reed was running. And they get Reed over in the scoring position.
Well, you used the right phrase there, stay out of the double play. A lot of people may not realize that the purpose of the hit and run is to stay out of the double play. And Carlos Quintana is that ideal number 2 hitter that can hit the ball on the ground and oftentimes the other way. Get an early run here into scoring position.
So with 1 out and Reed in scoring position at second. Welsh now facing Wade Boggs, the Red Sox third baseman. He accounted for the Red Sox run last night with a home run in the 4th inning into the net in left center field. Fastball in for a strike. Check swing and a ground foul. What company is Wade Boggs in? All-time leaders. Now, this is after a 302 season this year, his lowest in many years.
That's when you know you are a great hitter, when you've had a year where you hit just over 300 and people think it's rather disappointing.
Walt Weiss, the A's shortstop, is trying to cheat over to second to keep Reed close. We pointed out Fenway Park, you want to keep the runner close to second. He may not score on a base hit to left field. That's Carney Lansford, the third baseman. Boggs fouls it back in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. On deck is Ellis Burks for Boston.
You see, every infielder has a little pre-pitch position routine that they get into. You see Carney Lansford with a little shuffle of the feet and then get that glove right down to the ground.
One and 2. Wasting that pitch outside to Wade Boggs. If Reed, who's on second, had struggled against Welsh, how about Boggs, who has only 1 hit in 19 times up lifetime against Bob Welsh? That includes postseason a couple of years ago. Goes after a rising fastball and fouls it away and stays alive.
And that pitch, Dick, is an indication of why he's had trouble against Bob Welch. Most of the A's pitchers try to pitch Boggs up and away with fastballs. He took one of those into the net last night, but that's a pitch from Bob Welch he has a hard time laying off, the high fastball.
Ricky Henderson, the left fielder, was down stretching. It looks like he's just getting limbered up now in left field. Back to the mound, and Reed gets back to second. Welsh's only play is to first. Boggs is retired, and there are 2 away.
Well, Bob Welch probably thinks he's back in spring training. Pitcher's fielding practice. 3 hitters and all 3 balls hit right back to the mound. He does the right thing. A quick check of the runner. Reed's back in time. Plenty of time to get the easy out. I mean, how often do you start the game with 3 consecutive balls right back at the pitcher?
That's how you won 16 Gold Gloves.
Give up a lot of line drives. You'll learn how to get your glove up in a hurry.
2 away. Reed at second, and here's Ellis Burks. He had an extra base hit, a double last night, and he has hit Welsh well in the past. He takes a fastball on the outside corner for a strike. Burks is hitting .444 against Bob Welsh, including a home run. Ball to second. Gallego makes the play to first, and an infield hit by Reed. He's stranded at second, and after 1 inning here in Game 2 of the American League Championship Series, there's no score. No score, and in the Red Sox dugout, Roger Clemens, who was taken out after 6 innings. Nothing wrong with his arm, but Joe Morgan said he was simply tired.
About near the 100 pitch mark. Sometimes you don't realize with a pitcher, it's not just the arm, it's the entire body, the legs. And he only pitched 2 games in September, so he's not in the same condition he was in the middle of the year.
Harold Baines will lead off, takes ball 1 against Dana Kicker as we move to the 2nd inning. We pointed out earlier, Baines shocked a lot of people by sacrificing last night successfully. 2-0.
Yeah, what Tony La Russa will do, every at-bat, every pitch, he likes to use the word compete. Now, oftentimes, you won't look for a cleanup hitter to bunt, but he will seize every opportunity to try to produce a run.
Hit sharply right at second baseman Jody Reed. The best ball he hit last night was a line drive at Reed that turned out to be a double play, and he hits one right on the nose to Reed again tonight.
Well, 2 things you don't look for in this game, justice and sympathy. Baines last night, as you said, had the best line drive of the night for the Oakland A's, and here he starts out again. They're both outs. Lansford hit 3 balls rather softly, got 3 hits.
Here's Mark McGwire. Ball strike 1.
As all good pitchers, we mentioned it last night, watch the front side, keep the shoulder and the hip closed, and then drive right at the hitter. That's when pitchers get out of sync, as Clemens did last night.
Breaking ball in for the strike, and Kicker, throwing some very effective pitches, is ahead of McGwire. No balls and 2 strikes. On deck is Carney Lansford. Boggs playing deep at third. The 0-2 pitch is outside. Last night, McGwire hit in the number 7 slot, and of course, Tony La Russa told us in his office, he says it's hard to put a 100 RBI guy down in 7, moving him up to 5 tonight.
A little different fastball to hit at tonight than he had last night.
1-2 pitch, and the count is even. And McGuire has struggled career-wise against Roger Clemens. He has faced kicker only 5 times and has a home run. So he's got a better chance tonight. And it's hit sharply to right field. Line drive right at Bernansky, who makes the catch for the second out of the second inning. Tomorrow is a travel game, and then we'll resume Tuesday out in Oakland's Coliseum for Game 3 at 3 o'clock. Game 4 will be Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and if they need it, Game 5 Thursday night. 8 p.m. will be with you Eastern time. Here is Carney Lansford, takes inside for ball 1. And he did a number against his former club last night, getting 3 hits and driving in 2 runs. An underrated factor in the A's success. On the corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, if you got a youngster and you taught him hitting, you'd say keep the hands quiet, keep the body quiet. Carney Lansford's exceptional, unusual. He's done this since he was a kid. A lot of hand movement, a lot of body movement.
And a kind of an open stance for Lansford as well. Ground ball into the hole. It'll get through into left field for a base hit. And that's the first base runner and first hit for the Oakland A's.
Wade Boggs has become an excellent third baseman. No way he can get this ball. Just another example of Lansford. Doesn't hit the ball exceptionally hard, but just puts the bat on the ball and in play. That's his 4th hit of the series.
And Lansford, who has been consistent in postseason, has now hit safely in his last 11 postseason games. So with 2 out and a runner on, here is Ron Hassey. Those were his numbers this year. "37-year-old catcher, native of Tucson, Arizona. And time is called. Missing outside for ball 1. Hassey's .213 batting average was the lowest of his career. He's been in the big leagues for 12 years. Otherwise, his power production numbers were virtually the same as last year. And as you can see, has been in a slump. Kicker misses again, and it's 2-0 now to the A's catcher.
You know, for years, whatever a catcher hit was a bonus. Catcher's job was to catch the pitching staff, to handle pitchers like Tony Pena does so well for Boston. That's really Hassey's main job in catching Bob Welch. Whatever he provides on offense is a bonus.
There's the 2-0 pitch, and it's grounded. Reed backhands it. Fine play over to Rivera for the force, and that'll retire the side. Jody Reed's been doing that all year around second base.
And these kind of plays right here could well make Jody Reed next year's all-star second baseman. He's one of the best right now.
Inning and a half, no score at Fenway Park. Each team has a base hit, no score, as the Red Sox come to bat in the bottom of the second inning. Mike Greenwell, the hitter. 0 for 4 last night. Came back from a miserable start to finish respectably at 297 plus.
Ooh. You're going to see a lot of that. See, Bob Welch is a quick worker. Now, it's the umpire's job to protect the hitter, but once the pitcher starts into his motion, if I'm Bob Welch, I just let that baby go about chin high. Don't let hitters step out on you like that.
You were a quick worker. What did you feel about it?
Hitters want to disrupt his rhythm because he likes to work quickly.
And misses, strike 1.
And you don't mind them stepping out of the box, but not in the middle of your motion. Tough decision for John Hirschbeck right there, the home plate umpire.
One ball and 1 strike to Greenwell. He'll be followed by Dwight Evans and Tom Bernansky here. Greenwell had the ankle problem this year. when he was struggling. He said, look, I'm a 300 hitter.
You see him look at the ground, Bobby Welch, the high leg kick, and then right over the top. All 4 starters we've seen in this series, pretty basic, good fundamental pitching motions.
1-2 pitch misses, and when Greenwell said I'm a 300 hitter, he was saying that when my batting average is 230 as it was in May, you know there's something wrong with me, and it was the ankle.
No question.
He doesn't lose the stroke that easily.
Drive off that back foot now.
2-2 pitch fouled away.
Getting back to Welch's tempo and Greenwell stepping out as Jody Feed did early. You know, they know that 2 years ago Bobby Welch had a bad first inning against Boston, and he likes to work quickly, and they'd like to upset him early in this game.
And now Welch stopped as he started his windup. So we've already had 3 false starts, so to speak, in the first couple of innings. Comes back 2-2 and a high chopper over the mound. Weiss with the play. And despite the semi-slide by Greenwell, he's retired and there's 1 gone in the second inning. So there's 1 away, and that'll bring up Dwight Evans, the Red Sox designated hitter. Evans' lifetime has only 1 hit against Bob Welch. That was a home run in 14 trips to the plate. So there are several Red Sox, despite the fact that Welch is even lifetime against Boston at 3-3, who have really struggled. Burks is the only one in the lineup who has had some success against him. Breaking ball in for the strike on the inside corner.
I mentioned Bob Welch overshadowed by Dave Stewart. The last 4 years, the top 3 winners in baseball, Dave Stewart and then Roger Clemens and Bob Welch are tied for second. 76 wins. There's another one.
And the time was called.
And Tony, yeah, he's going to
let it go, he's saying.
That's exactly right. One of the things you'd be concerned about if you were a pitcher when you stop in the middle of that motion is an arm injury.
1 ball and 1 strike, and the one thing you're definitely going to have is no chance to establish any rhythm. Infield is playing Evans to pull. Outfield slightly around to the right. Joe Morgan, who turned the last night's game, a beautiful ball game, turned into a horrible nightmare. Good description for the Red Sox standpoint. Line drive, left field. Henderson goes back, jumps, and it's off the wall. Trapped there, and Dwight Evans will get into second base safe for a double. Well, maybe those tactics by the Red Sox are paying dividends.
You see Hassey's target. Look where the pitch is. Middle of the plate in. Early in the count, Dewey Evans. And that's why he's a successful hitter at Fenway Park. We'll look for that ball in there to pull it. Henderson gets a breaker, just kind of traps it against the wall because McGee was not running over to back up the play. And Ricky gave it the best shot he could.
And here's Bernansky. 1 hit last night. Looks at a curveball in for the strike. And it's a good thing that Henderson trapped the ball. You know, if there were a faster base runner, he might have gotten a third.
That's one of the things Tony La Russa had talked about with Willie McGee playing center field. They got to constantly remind him, you've got to come over on balls like that, back up the play.
And again, Bernansky calls timeout, and there is no question now that the Red Sox are making a decided effort to try to upset the rhythm of Bob Welch here early. For the strike. 1-1 the count with 1 out. Dwight Evans with a 1-out double. 1-1. Two and 1 to Bernansky, who's a streak hitter, and the definition of that word, and he had been on a hot streak at the end of the season. Up with 15 home runs, still under the 20 that he had hit every year in the big leagues until this season. Missing low. 3 balls and a strike. This crowd here at Fenway Park looking for any bright light, any silver lining here.
The silver lining they got going here is a 3-1 count with a good fastball hitter that if it gets it down in the strike zone can hit one out.
And a good pitch. Fastball up in the strike zone, fouled back, and the count is full. Fenway Park in Boston, game 2 of the American League Championship Series. The Red Sox trying to come back and even things after losing 9-1 last night. They're threatening. In a scoreless game, Dwight Evans is at second with 1 out here in the bottom of the second inning. Dick Stockton along with Jim Cott for all the action. And it's been that kind of a stop-start game, and now Ron Hasse is going to the mound as Bernansky called time again.
You mentioned Ron Hasse. We talked about him catching Bob Welch, and he's his personal catcher. Sometimes those things just happen by accident. See, when Welch came over from the National League, he didn't know the American League hitters. Hasse had been in the American League for a while. Terry Steinbach was a rookie. So Tony La Russa, Dave Duncan said, let's let Hasse catch Welch. It's worked out very successfully.
He has caught Welch in 64 of Bob's last 66 games. And he walks him. Ball 4. That's the first walk given up by Bob Welch. Bernansky is aboard, and the Red Sox with runners at first and second and 1 out. They didn't have many opportunities last night with 2 runners on in an inning, but they do now with Tony Pena coming up.
Tony Pena.
The plus for the Red Sox is what a big part of this ball club Pena has been, and he uses the whole field. He's a tough out, but for the A's, once again, Tony Pena hits into more double plays than any hitter in the major leagues.
So you figure Welsh will be looking to throw Pena breaking stuff.
And keep the ball down.
One out, 2 runners on. Pitch is in for the strike. Started him off with a breaking ball. Pena with 56 runs batted in this season, the most in 5 years when he drove in 59 for the Pirates.
Obvious what the Red Sox are trying to do. Probably in their little meeting before the game with the hitters, hey, let's step out. Disrupt his rhythm.
And Tony La Russa is upset. He doesn't like what he sees. Curveball just missed, and it's 1-1 to Tony Pena.
Well, a couple of pitches ago, we saw Tony holler out at the mound to Bob Welch, let it go, and that's really the only thing a pitcher can do. Stop in the middle of your pitching motion.
Fastball is chopped to shortstop. Weiss over to Gallego for 1. The throw to first, double play. So Pena hits into the double play, and Welsh gets him to hit it on the ground. No runs, a hit. 1 left after 2. No score at Fenway. Between innings, A's manager Tony La Russa obviously disturbed, went out to talk to home plate umpire John Hirschbeck.
One of the things he's obviously asking John is don't call time in the middle of the guy's motion. Don't let him step out like that. I know you have to protect the hitter, but consider my pitcher also.
Now, you were a pitcher who liked to throw quickly. Now, what did you do when this continued? Did you ever plunk somebody?
Well, if there were guys that stepped out often, yeah, you'd let it go, and if it went up and in, why, you had to send your own message. No intent involved, but I think just the frustration factor of letting the ball go. I had that problem with the great Joe Morgan, who liked to have a lot of time and kind of flip that elbow the way Joe Morgan would get ready to hit.
Walt Weiss, the hitter, swings and misses. No balls and 2 strikes.
Of course, if I hit anybody, it's not going to hurt him anyway, but I just think in the middle of your motion, you want to let it go, and you release a little of that frustration that maybe Bob Welch is going through.
So Morgan was kind of a nemesis that way for you.
Yeah, there are certain hitters that want a little more time to get ready.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Walt Weiss, switch hitter. Hitting just about the same from both sides of the plate. 1-2 pitch, grounded to Quintana. He'll make the play unassisted And there's one away. Right now, let's go to Jim Gray, who's outside Fenway Park behind the Green Monster. Jim?
Okay, Dick, we are behind the Green Monster. It's like a big tailgate party going on out here. A lot of guys show up with their gloves trying to catch a home run. These people really just want to be a part. They're on listening to their radios, watching TV. They came down to be a part, weren't fortunate enough to get a ticket. You know, they really don't feel as though they're missing anything. They feel like the people inside are missing a good party by not being out here. Let's go back inside to Dick Stockton.
All right, Jim. One out, Mike Gallego, the batter. I wouldn't be surprised if 35,000 people just file out of here.
Well, I tell you what, I think I'd rather be inside Fenway Park, though, but that is a nice little spot out there if you can't get a ticket.
One out. Mike Gallego batting ninth in the order as he did last night for the A's. Fouls back the fastball, and it's 1-1. You know, it's a great view out there as you saw the screen in left field. And the screen doesn't go up straight, but it kind of gives, and you see the way that flows in left field. And when you get near the ballpark from outside, it's really gives you tingles, you know.
Very distinctive. See Dana Kicker rubbing that ball up. What a nice story. Born in Sleepy Eye, Minnesota. That's a name catcher, but really grew up in Fairfax and just a few miles away from Oakland catcher Terry Steinbach. Worked out together. Of course, Dana's from St. Cloud State. He played his college baseball. Steinbach at the University of Minnesota.
I like Sleepy Eye better than Fairfax. Got a lilt to it. Here's the 1-1. And that pitch thrown behind. Did it just slip out?
Well, as Joaquin Andahar said, sometimes you sum this game up in one word. You never know. You'd like to say it just slipped out, but with what's going on here, I mean, this you used to pitch Ted Williams like this, high and behind him. Yeah, it looks right there like it did slip out. There wasn't a lot of velocity behind the ball. It looked like an off-speed pitch.
Gallego just trying to get his bearings back. Probably can't believe that pitch. Here is the 2-1 delivery. Up high, 3-1. On deck is Ricky Henderson, and that's why Gallego is a key man for Dana Kicker. He doesn't want to walk him and have Henderson come to the plate. Ground ball hit right at shortstop Luis Rivera. And there are 2 out. The National League action resumes tomorrow. Danny Jackson and Zane Smith. Boy, Zane Smith paid dividends for the Pittsburgh Pirates since joining them. Game 3 tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern time.
Boy, he's been like the Doyle Alexander. Remember Doyle Alexander, the right-hander in the American League that Detroit picked up in the last month of the '87 season to win that division. Now Zane Smith, coming over from Montreal, has done that for the Pirates.
Series is all even 1-1. Ricky Henderson takes strike 1. He grounded out to shortstop his first time up. He was born Christmas Day, and the Yankees traded him. A lot of people wonder why the Yankees did, but they wonder about a lot of the deals the Yankees have made in recent years.
Henderson, Clark, Winfield, McGriff, quite a lineup there at one time. And Freddie McGriff, Yankee product, the Toronto first baseman.
Henderson with a big cut. Misses, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. And to this point, Dana Kicker has really come through for the Red Sox.
Tony Pena said if he gets through the first couple innings, he'll pitch a good ball game, and that's kind of been his history throughout this season.
He had a strong finish, won 3 big games down the stretch, particularly on the road. He was better on the road than at Fenway. 2 out, nobody on. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Henderson. A check swing. Foul out of play.
Now we mentioned the injured thumb that Ricky Henderson has been playing with. So that's a little wrap that they put in the crotch of that thumb to kind of cushion the blow when the ball hits the bat, and that bat kind of jams back in there.
He's had hamstring problems. He's had the thumb. And if you look at the lower body, you can understand why Ricky Henderson, built like a football player, could have hamstring trouble. Here's the 1-2 pitch again. And it's grounded to Rivera on the easy hop to throw to first. 1-2-3 inning for kicker in the third. And we'll return to Fenway Park after this message and a word from your local station.
It's summertime, 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 summertime.
You remember that song from the 50s? That was written by the Red Sox public address announcer, Sherm Feller, man of many talents, Jim.
Well, you know, the public address announcers around the league, they have those distinguishable voices or distinctive voices, and players in the clubhouses have a lot of fun with the guys like Sherm Feller around the league trying to imitate them.
I love that song. You know, it brings back a lot of memories.
Talented guy. He wrote a symphony in honor of John F. Kennedy.
They have a delay. A fan ran on the field and is being escorted off. Luis Rivera will lead off here in the third inning. 1 for 2 last night. There are great public address announcers in past years. Pat Piper at Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Currently Bob Shepard, Rex Barney in Baltimore.
High fly ball hit deep to left field. Looking up is Henderson, and it's high off the wall. Makes a good play with it, but Rivera is going to get in there standing with a double to lead off the third inning.
More doubles hit in Fenway Park and the Metrodome in Minnesota than any parks in baseball. This is why. Here is a fly ball that Ricky Henderson can do nothing about. Now, in some ballparks, that might be a home run. But with the high wall, it takes one bounce, and Rivera has a double.
We have a scoreless game, bottom of the third inning. Rivera is on at second base. Ricky Henderson already having a busy night in left field, and here is the leadoff hitter, Jody Reed. He'll be looking to move the runner over to third. The A's are looking for the bunt. Lansford and McGuire in on the grass at third and first, respectively. Fastball taken for strike one. Reed was safe on an infield hit. Rack slider. The third base coach for the Red Sox, and Al Bumbry, one of the great center fielders during Earl Weaver's Oriole days, is coaching at first for Boston. And he hit away on that pitch and very nearly got it down the first base line. Just foul for strike two.
Not a bad idea by Jody Reed or Joe Morgan. In a bunt situation, the one pitch you try to throw is a high fastball. That's the toughest pitch to bunt. Jody Reed or Joe Morgan took a guess, got that high fastball, tried to slice it the other way.
Red Sox have come up empty so far with runners in scoring position. Now the first and third baseman move back a bit. Lansford still even with the bag at third. McGuire much deeper at first. With the lead at second is Rivera. Nobody out. No score. And it's slapped to the right side. Reed does his job, and Gallego makes the play for the first out, and Rivera advances to third. That's smart, fundamental baseball.
And that's one of the reasons. Mentioned Jody Reed might be the best all-around second baseman in the American League. Right there. 0-2. Knows he just wants to lay the bat on the ball. That's as good as a sacrifice. Won't be in the scorebook, but that was his mission when we went up to the plate in that at-bat.
And the Red Sox with the lead run at third base in a scoreless game with one out. Carlos Quintana bounced into a force play his first time up. First pitch, line drive, left field, and Henderson makes the catch. Here comes the throw. Here comes Rivera offline. The Red Sox lead it 1-0. For Quintana.
Well, the strategy pays off. Jody Reed does his job, and Quintana with a line drive sacrifice fly to score the Red Sox first run.
The batter is Wade Boggs. He takes up high ball one, and the key play there was Jody Reed going to the opposite field and getting Rivera over to the third base. The Red Sox score first in this game. Boggs fouls it away. 1 ball, 1 strike to Boggs, who bounced back to Welsh his first trip.
Last night's game, the battle between Clemens and Stewart, close for 8 innings, and that's the remarkable thing about these Red Sox. They have had an uncanny ability to win those type games.
Took something off the pitch on the outside corner for a strike. 1-2 to Wade. Roger Clemens right now is not slated to pitch again until Game 5, according to Joe Morgan. Fastball away. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and he says he doesn't think that Clemens would pitch in any event in Game 4, even if the Red Sox were down 3-0. Fastball on the inside edge, strike 3. And Boggs doesn't like that call from John Hirschbeck.
Well, John Hirschbeck, one of the better umpires in the American League. The pitch before that really, I think, had more of the plate than that one, but oftentimes the catcher's target influences the call.
First strikeout for Welsh, but the Red Sox take the lead 1-0.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 2 of the 1990 American League Championship Series is brought to you by Mr. Goodwrench, the GM service expert at your participating GM dealers. Nike, who reminds you to just do it. And by United Airlines, serving over 200 cities in the U.S. and around the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
Back at Fenway Park, this is Dick Stockton along with Jim Cott. Game 2 of the American League Championship Series. The Red Sox leading the A's 1-0. And we go to the 4th inning. A run, 3 hits, no errors for Boston. 0-1-0 for Oakland. And Willie McGee leading off against Dana Kicker, who has allowed only 1 hit and has struck out a batter. McGee grounded out to Jody Reed his first time up and pops up a fastball, drifting out of play and into the stands. McGee, a fine acquisition for the A's, as was Baines, especially since Dave Henderson got hurt. They had a backup man ready to go.
They're in hopes that Dave Henderson will play in Tuesday's game in Oakland, but he did twist his knee today in batting practice. Tony La Russa awaiting the result of that.
0-1 pitch, grounded past the first base coach Dave McKay, and the count is 2 strikes. So Dana Kicker, the number 5 starter for the Red Sox, who was ready to quit baseball last spring after 6.5 years knocking around the minor leagues, finds himself pitching in a big game number 2 and leading 1-0. Count is 1-2 to McGee.
I mentioned that the Red Sox go into this game in a more relaxed state of mind, and I think Dana Kicker's one of them. You might say, wow, this is a big game, a lot of pressure. Hey, he's been through a lot in the minor leagues. This is fun for him. He's been anticipating this, never thought it would happen.
Line drive, fair ball down the right field line, maybe extra bases. Brunansky plays the carom, but McGee, who can run, stops at second with a double. And the A's have the tying run at second base.
Willie McGee, with that quiet approach at the plate, gets a ball down and in. And the right field corner in Fenway Park, we talk about playing the wall, but the right field corner is also a little difficult. Now here's the Willie McGee lean. I mean, when he gets going and generates some speed, even his own teammates love to watch him run. He quickly picks up Rene Latchman to see if it might be a triple, but he settles for the double. Not many faster at going from home to second or third than Willie McGee.
And that brings up Jose Canseco with Baines to follow. And the A's have a threat here. That's their second hit in the game and their second extra base hit of the series. Canseco struck out his first time up. And time is called. Second baseman Jody Reed is shaded over towards second to keep McGee close to the bag. Of course, the Red Sox were burned with 2 A's base runners stealing third last night.
Willie McGee will not steal third base very often. You can never say never, but he seldom tries it.
Slider misses outside, but at least the Red Sox want to keep him as close as
no
possible.
question, because it's surprising that he does it. Why wouldn't he? He's got great speed, but he doesn't feel comfortable. Maybe he doesn't get a good jump.
For the strike. 1-1. Kicker has exhibited a good assortment of pitches tonight. Fastball, curve, slider. the out, runner at second base. And here's a pickoff attempt with Reed covering, and McGee is back.
You mentioned the Red Sox infielders, and Jody Reed in particular, playing close to second base. Two reasons. They're shading Canseco a little to pull, and also it cuts down on that lead that Willie McGee's going to get.
Are you surprised at kicker's velocity so far in this game?
Yeah, if the radar gun readings are up there, I mean, he's pumped. He normally doesn't get that fastball up around 90.
And here's another attempt, and McGee gets back once more.
Probably one of the reasons they're paying closer attention to Willie McGee. 13 bases in 15 attempts against Dana Kicker.
So he's got to worry about every base, I guess. 1 ball, 1 strike. And a chopper. McGee has to go back to second. Rivera makes the play in time. Kicker couldn't have asked for a better pitch and better play from Canseco as he grounds out. 1 away. McGee remains at second.
Well, the Red Sox getting the best of the fundamental baseball. Jody Reed hit the ball the opposite way, advanced the runner, but Kicker with the off-speed pitch gets Canseco to pull a ground ball and prevent McGee from advancing.
Oh, that brings up the A's cleanup hitter, Harold Baines, who hit a shot but right at Jody Reed for the out, just as he did last night. There's the pitch outside on the corner for a strike, 0-1. Baines, the designated hitter, and now you're looking at the other player, McGee. Both have come up. A lot of people said, how can the rich get richer? But that's what happened to the A's in the last 2 months of the season. Now Rivera cheating in, and there's the throw to second, and Rivera getting behind.
I mentioned Canseco pulling that ground ball. That's not to insinuate he didn't do his job. He's not in that batter's box to hit ground balls and advance runners, but ideally, some way you'd like to advance McGee to third base with 1 out.
McGee checking the position of the shortstop, Rivera. Here's the 0-1 pitch, a line drive, base hit to right field. Brunansky bobbles the ball. McGee would have scored anyway. He'll come in with a run that ties it up at 1-1 here in the 4th inning. So the Red Sox lead did not last long here in game number 2, and Baines with his first RBI of the series.
Well, the most productive designated hitter in the American League for years. In fact, all his years in Chicago, they've retired his number there at Comiskey Park, and that's the reason why. Great clutch hitter. Brunansky keeps the ball in front of him to at least keep Baines at first base.
The score. Their hits are even 3 apiece, and here's Mark McGwire, who lined out sharply to Brunansky his first time up. Ball 1 outside. Question comes up about the Red Sox relief situation tonight. They used 6 pitchers last night in the 9-1 loss.
And Dennis Lamp not available tonight, injured back. Tough decisions for Joe Morgan. Hasn't been able to find anybody down there to bridge that gap between the starter and the closer, Jeff Reardon.
2 balls and no strikes to McGwire. He was disappointed, obviously, in Larry Anderson last night, who had been effective against Oakland in his 1 appearance earlier in the month. Didn't have it last night, walked the first batter he faced, but he'd come back with Anderson tonight.
Oh, yeah, or Jeff Gray.
There's the 2-0 pitch. In for the strike. Rene Latchman, the third base coach for the A's. And over at first base, Dave McKay. Latchman, of course, no stranger to Boston, coached in the John McNamara era. Good fastball. McGwire fouls it back, and the count is even 2-2. Willie McGee led off with a double, scored on a single by Baines to tie it up here in the 4th.
The Oakland organization, and Tony La Russa in particular, sometimes they think he boots up the computer and goes into all this scientific baseball. He's got very hard-working coaches. Dave McKay handles some of the weight training program. Latchman, the defensive charts.
And a breaking ball hit into the air to center field. Ellis Burks has plenty of room. Makes the play for out number 2. Dick Stockton and Jim Cotton, along with Jim Gray, here at Fenway Park in Boston. The A's, winning last night 9-1 after trailing 1-0, have tied the score after the Red Sox moved in front in the bottom of the third. Tomorrow's a travel day, and then the series moves to the West Coast to Oakland's Coliseum for Game 3 Tuesday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. The National League resumes with Game 3 tomorrow afternoon beginning at 3 o'clock from Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh right here on CBS. Lansford pops it up, and a play for Tony Pena, and that ends the inning. But the A's tie it up with a run on 2 hits and leave one. We go to the bottom of the fourth.
This game summary is sponsored by Budweiser.
1-1's the score. Quintana sacrifice fly scored Rivera, who led off with a double in the bottom of the third inning for the Red Sox. And then when McGee started things off in the fourth with the A's with a double, Harold Baines drove him in with a sharp base hit to right field, and that's where we are. Dana Kicker against Bob Welch as the Red Sox come up in the bottom of the fourth inning. Ellis Burks, Mike Greenwell, and Dwight Evans, the hitters against him. So far, Welch has allowed 1 run on 3 hits, has walked 1 and fanned 1. Actually, a called third strike by Wade Boggs that ended the third. Ellis Burks grounded out to Mike Gallego his first trip. Ball 1 outside. Lansford on the edge of the grass at third. Rest of the infield is playing back. Fastball on the corner. He's hitting those corners tonight, Welch.
Yeah, and especially early in the count against guys like Ellis Burks, they try to keep the ball on the outside. He is so quick early in the count on the inside pitch.
And once again, the Red Sox play the delay game. Now to Burks.
Mentioned quick on the inside pitch. Why? Well, early in the count, hitters, especially in Fenway Park, like Dewey Evans did in his first at-bat, are looking for that ball in that they can pull. Later in the count, they just have to protect the plate.
Inside, 3 balls and a strike, and we talked about the wind earlier in the game was blowing out, but it is not now. The flag poles show the flag is draped right now, so the wind is not blowing out. Wells behind 3-1, walks Burks. And the Red Sox have the leadoff man aboard for the third inning. Third time in the first 4 innings of the game in a 1-1 affair, and that is the second walk issued by Welsh.
And of course, each time that happens, you wonder whether the Red Sox apparent strategy of stepping out and disrupting the rhythm of Bob Welch is affecting his control.
Welsh rarely walks the leadoff hitter, only the second time in just under 100 innings that he has done that. Here's Greenwell. Rounded out to shortstop his first time up. Fastball for a strike on the outside corner. One the score, each team with 3 hits. Rack Slider, the Red Sox third base coach. And a look over to first.
That's got to be, you see Hasse flash down 5. There's no such sign as 5. It's 1's a fastball, 2's curve, 3's a slider. If he gives 5, that's probably throw over there. Or it could be a pitch out.
It was a pitch out. You're right. 1-1.
The fist is primarily, that's been the sign since Abner Doubleday invented this game, the fist for the pitch out, but now teams kind of change up that signal. Apparently the A's sign is 5 fingers.
1 ball and 1 strike. On deck is Dwight Evans. Pitch missing outside. 2-1. Greenwell eyeing Rack Slider at third base to see if a play is on with the count 2 balls and a strike. That there'd be a pitch out here.
Nope. Can't risk going to 3-1. If you're Greenwell, I know he looked down at Slider a long time for a sign. If you're Greenwell right here, you think you're going to get a fastball that you can pull through that hole.
Runner doesn't go, and the pitch is fouled off. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fenway Park in Boston, where the Red Sox drew an all-time attendance mark of 2,528,000. You can usually tell by the road attendance how an attractive a team is. Toronto doesn't draw very well on the road, but the A's are the best. There goes the runner, and the pitch is swung on and missed. The throw to second, and he's in there. The ball actually hit him on the throw, and Burks has a rare stolen base for Boston.
Rare indeed. Welch gets the ball up and in, and Greenwell chases that. And Hassey's throw not in time. Rare because the Red Sox are last in the major leagues in stolen bases. Ellis Burks is their best base stealer, but he's only successful about half the time. A little more creative offense tonight by Joe Morgan. Watch the subtle little decoy by Walt Weiss. He picks up the ball and then turns around as if it went into center field. He had knocked it down.
So Burks with a stolen base. Not only has he been caught about half the amount of times, the Red Sox as a team stole 53 bases and were caught 52 times. So here's Dwight Evans with 1 out.
Still kind of looking for a pitch up and in to somebody here because of the game the hitters are playing.
There's a strike on the outside corner. Welch has been effective in getting ahead on hitters, left-handers or right-handers, with fastballs on the outside part of the plate. Time called, and Welch then started his kick even. Let's go, Bob.
Let it go, says Tony La Russa. Dave Duncan, his pitching coach, in the background.
This is low. 1-1 the count with 1 out. The Red Sox with the lead run at second base, and Ellis Burks, who walked and stole second. Red Sox trying to play hit and run. Dwight Evans, the veteran. 4 postseason classics. Pickoff attempt in the throw to Gallego, and Burks did not have much of a lead, got back easily.
Well, and that lead is important, as we mentioned in last night's ball game, and you see from the overhead shot, the runner at second base, Ellis Burks, has to get a few extra steps off that bag to score on a base hit to left field in Fenway Park.
Swing and a miss on the sweeping delivery, and the count is 1-2 to Evans.
You know, with the short left field out there, Mike Greenwell led the American League left fielders in assists. It's not as long a throw from left field here.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bob Welch, who did not get a chance to pitch in last year's World Series. He was scheduled to go on the game in which the earthquake occurred out in San Francisco, and he never got to pitch again. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And a pop-up to short right field. Mike Gallego is going out, and coming in is the right fielder, Canseco. He makes the catch. Burks goes back to second. And there are 2 down, and that was a close call for the A's, as Canseco called off Gallego at the last second, and not an easy catch.
Well, Canseco makes the right play. It's always easier for the outfielder to make the call, but not an easy catch. And one of the reasons is the vast right field in Fenway Park. Right fielders play a little deeper here. As a result, Canseco has a longer distance to cover. So he's not just a hitter and a base stealer, pretty good athlete. You can see it by that catch right there. Replace your divots.
If this were a golf course, the ranger would come around and tell you to do just that. 2 down, and here's Brunansky, who walked his first time up. 1-1 the score, bottom of the 4th inning. Ground ball ball to the left side. Weiss is up with it, has plenty of time, and throws him out. Berdansky is out. And the Red Sox don't score. They leave a man at second, and after 4, we're still tied. One to one the score. After 4 innings of game number 2, the Red Sox losing last night 9-1, and a view of Fenway Park from the top and piloting the MetLife blimp. Outstanding pictures we're getting indeed for tonight's game. Captains Corky Bellinger and John McQuirk. Ron Hasse will start it off for the A's in the bottom of the 5th inning. Bottom third of the order against Dana Kicker, who has allowed 1 run on 3 hits, has struck out 1. A's scoring last inning on a double by McGee and a single by Baines to tie it up after the Red Sox moved in front on a Quintana sacrifice fly in the 3rd. Ball 1 high. Kicker was 0-1 against the A's. 2 no decisions this year. First major league start was against Oakland right here at Fenway Park on April the 27th. Was close.
Yeah, John Hirschbeck behind the plate, known as one of the better umpires in the National League, on a pretty good strike zone, but he has been much tighter from a strike zone standpoint than Richie Garcia was in last night's game. Tonight's zone much more favorable to the hitters.
And the count runs to 3-0 now to Hasse. Hasse hit into a force play his first time up.
One of the things Tony Pena brings to this. I mean, he'll go to the Hill more times than your local congressman. He just runs out like Carlton Fisk used to do. Just an encouraging moment right here for Dana Kicker. Let's go. Throw the ball over.
There are a lot of ways to handle people, and obviously Pena has to give him a little bit of a whipping here. There's the fastball in for the strike. He didn't have a smile on his face when he went out there. 3-1 the count. Walks him. Hasse's aboard. That is the first walk given up by Dana Kicker. A's with the leadoff man aboard. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Jim Cottadine, and frankly mostly Jim, will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in the player's behalf to the Special Olympics. You don't mind that, do you?
I thought it was your night to vote.
Every night's your night. Walt Weiss, the hitter, rounded out to Quintana at first unassisted his first time up. Looking for the possible sacrifice as Boggs creeps in at third and the throw to first.
In on the grass, and then he will get in position and charge down toward Walt Weiss, anticipating the bunt.
Hasse, not a fast runner on at first, so the Red Sox could have a shot here at second, and not bunting there was Weiss, and the fastball was in for call strike 1. Checking with Rene Lachemann. Weiss, a native of upstate New York with the fancy name of Tuxedo. Tuxedo, New York native. There's the 0-1. Check swing and a good stop. He went around. The strike, says Hirschbeck, and the count is 0-2. And Pena made a good stop on that pitch inside.
The body shift, get the glove down. And the idea there as a catcher is not necessarily to catch it, just to block it. Pena did both.
The 0-2 pitch. Got one to pull, and he lines it hard into the stands behind the Red Sox dugout. Walt Weiss with outstanding bat control. He has become a much better hitter. One of the quiet leaders on this team and a brilliant fielder without question.
This is what Kicker has done with men on. There's only one thing Walt Weiss can do with this pitch when it's way inside, and that's pull it foul. But he is a much better pitcher with men on base.
.155 lifetime average in postseason for the A's shortstop. Kicker is ahead on the count, 0-2. Runner doesn't go, and the pitch is outside, 1-2. Quintana holding on the runner. Hasse, who walked. Well, the A's have had the leadoff man on each of the last 2 innings. McGee doubled to start the 4th, and he scored. And it's up high, 2-2.
Now Oakland's back in a count where I wouldn't be surprised to see Tony La Russa put the hit and run on. Kicker not in a position where he can really afford to waste a pitch, so Weiss should get a pitch he can put the bat on.
And with nobody out, you would like to get a man in scoring position for when Henderson comes up. And a fastball on the outside corner, strike 3. And the second strikeout of the game for Dana Kicker, 1 away. Clutch pitch there.
Yeah, threw Weiss some breaking balls inside that he could only pull, and then look at the determination in those eyes and the pitch right on the outside corner where Pena's target is. A 90-mile-an-hour blazer. I didn't know he threw that hard.
He is pumped up for this, the LCS. Weiss sits down, and here's Mike Gallego, who grounded out to Rivera, the shortstop. Quintana not quite holding the runner on, playing a couple of steps behind. 1 out, the pitch in there for a call strike to Gallego. Number 9 hitter tonight, and on deck is Ricky Henderson. Won the score. The Red Sox scored in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and the A's promptly tied it up in their half of the 4th. We're in the 5th here. In for the strike. Breaking ball, 0-2.
That's one of those things, if you ran out to the mound and told him to not do that, that'd be the most upsetting thing to a pitcher. Just keep sticking that tongue out. More importantly, he's getting his breaking ball open.
Hasse, the runner. He led off with a walk, and Quintana will move away and not hold him on. Right before the pitch. Here's the 0-2 delivery. Breaks outside, 1-2. The A's theory, just put the ball in play. Talk about the home runs. You mentioned the little things they do at the top of the broadcast. They feel if they can put the ball in play, good things are going to happen.
And that's what this guy has a knack of doing, and hitting it to right field, Mike Gallego.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to him. Nearly hit him as it broke inside, and the count now. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gallego.
Keep him honest. Just run that ball inside on Gallego, because Kicker knows the one thing Mike would like to do right here is to get a pitch out of the way and hit it to right field.
29-year-old rookie Dana Kicker. In a 1-1 game, and there goes Hasse, and the pitch is fouled out of play. So La Russa was starting the runner on 2-2, and he'll go back. There's the pitch count for Dana Kicker thus far.
That total tells you Kicker is going to go about 6 or 7 innings for Joe Morgan, and he's going to be confronted with that bullpen decision again.
Here goes Hasse, and the pitch is line foul. He had a pitch to pull. And so the veteran will come back to first, and we'll do it all over again.
Those not familiar with pitch counts, and that's something that's really become fashionable the last few years. Normally in a 9-inning game, a pitcher will throw 12 to 14 pitches an inning. If you can keep it down to about 120 to 25 pitches a game, that's a normal 9-inning game. So a coach will look at that total, 74 in the 5th, say he's not going to make 9.
And he has never made 9. I think 8 1/3 is the most he's ever pitched. in the major leagues. Hasse is off, and again the pitch is fouled away by Gallego, so he's getting a piece of it. Gallego got the nod to start at second base last night from Tony La Russa. He had a decision to make. Willie Randolph or Gallego both ended up playing in the game. Randolph came in as a pinch runner.
Pretty nice decision to have. That's one of the strengths of this Oakland ball club. Their front office is committed to providing La Russa with quality players to keep him at a championship level. Randolph, McGee, Baines, examples of that.
Gallego will be looking to hit it to the right side. Reed is shaded to second. He has the whole right side of the infield, and the pitch hits him, and he'll trot down to first base. Gallego is hit by the pitch. There's Willie Randolph cheering Gallego on, and runners now at first and second.
Kicker trying to run that sinking fastball in on Gallego, and it gets away from him. A couple of pitches to Gallego. Dana Kicker, they've slipped out a little bit early. Remember that previous at bat, he threw one high and behind him.
And on that pitch, the Red Sox have begun bullpen activity. Greg Harris, another one of the surprise stories for Boston this year. Harris right now scheduled to be the pitcher in game number 4 on Wednesday at Oakland. And he's loosening up now.
And if he had to come in and pitch in this game, that could well be changed to left-hander Tom Bolton.
So with runners at first and second and one out, the thing the Red Sox didn't want to see, Ricky Henderson coming up with a man in scoring position. Henderson twice is grounded out to shortstop. 1-1 the score, top of the 5th inning, and the A's threaten with one out. Henderson calls time, and of course he'll do the same thing to Kicker that the Red Sox have done to Welsh.
It's always been a part of Ricky's game.
Hasse, the runner at second. Gallego, who was hit by a pitch with the lead at first. In the dirt, no advance as Pena blocks it in front of him. Ball 1. Told you about his 28 home runs, Henderson.
Wow. Yeah, that's the thing you don't realize oftentimes about Ricky Henderson. Not just a base stealer, he's leading this team in slugging percentage, second in the league.
Red Sox pitching coach Bill Fisher is now coming out to the mound. Greg Harris is warming up in the Boston bullpen, and Kicker, more deliberate, is struggling here in the 5th inning. And this is a critical moment because the Red Sox don't want to see this game get out of hand as it did in the 9th inning last night.
Exactly right. Bill Fisher just buying a little time right here to settle Dana Kicker down, break up the rhythm, which has been going in a negative way for him this inning. Also gives Harris a little more time to warm up in the bullpen.
Probably more important for the Red Sox than even for the A's is for Kicker to go as long as he can so that the Red Sox don't have to get into that middle inning relief, which not only haunted them last night, but in the latter stages of the season. One and 0 to Henderson with one out. Runners at first and second. Deep to center field. Ellis Burks is going way back on the warning track and makes the catch on the base of the wall. And the runners will tag up in advance. Gallego to second and Hasse to third. And Henderson hit that not quite, but pretty close to the deepest part of the ballpark.
Hitters have an expression, take a pitcher to the bridge for a home run. Henderson takes this to the center field gate. I mean, Ellis Burks is backed right up against the gate in the deepest part of Fenway Park. In fact, it's those extra 6 to 8 inches out there that enable him to make the catch. Almost runs out of room. It's just that extra little foot the gate provides enabled him to pull that one down.
But kicker is not out of the woods yet. And Willie McGee, who doubled sharply down the right field line and eventually scored the A's run the batter with runners at second and third and 2 outs. Here's kicker's first pitch. Hung on and fouled at the plate. And that hit Pena, and he is hobbling around now.
You see catchers with all kinds of equipment, the shin guards and the chest protector and the mask, but the one area that is unprotected are those toes, and that's what the foul tips right down on the toe.
We have a tie game here at Fenway Park in Boston in Game 2 of the American League Championship Series. Dick Stockton and Jim Cott. 1-1 the score. Last night, the Red Sox had a 1-0 lead into the 7th inning and lost 9-1. Here's that foul tip again.
Right down on the inside of that right big toe.
It hurts me up here.
Put a little ice on it.
Okay. 1 strike to McGee. And 1 to Willie. The 2 skippers. And a ball hit to center field. Burks should make the play. He does, and the side is retired. The A's threaten and leave. Runners at second and third. It's still a 1-1 game, and we go to the bottom of the 5th.
Up here in New England, Joe Morgan is known as just a nice, normal guy. He likes to spend about an hour a day in his garden, raising 30 fruits and vegetables. In fact, he brought me this tomato here tonight. You know, up until a couple of years ago, Joe used to plow the snow on the Massachusetts Turnpike during the winter. And you know what he would do? That was just for extra money. He also takes phone calls from fans regularly. In fact, he said some fans called him today to give him a little bit of advice. And you know, Dick and Jim, this tomato's big enough, we can have dinner.
And there's a guy who would prepare maybe some pasta and tomato sauce. Huh?
Ooh, spicy, yeah. Joe Morgan. Harry Walker, manager in the Cardinal minor league system, said Joe Morgan was the smartest minor league player I ever had. Doesn't come across that way to a lot of people. Just keeps it very simple.
And you know, he doesn't have to. I don't think he has to entertain the media or come out with the fancy words. He knows what he's doing. He's the manager of the club, and he's gotten his team to the playoffs. Tony Pena leading off and takes ball 1 from Bob Welsh. Pena bounced into a double play his first time up, so the Red Sox facing, for them, a survival test here, trailing 1-0 in the series. Only 2 clubs have ever come back in a 7-game postseason series after losing the first 2 games at home. Big cut on the breaking ball and a pop-up. Third baseman Carney Lansford is there, and he makes the catch, and there's 1 away in the 5th. Pirates and the Reds hook up tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern here on CBS. Danny Jackson and Zane Smith oppose each other at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh.
Pretty evenly matched here. I think everyone's looking for those 2 teams to explode on offense, but typical, I think it'll be determined by who can do the best pitching. And when you look at bullpens, you'd have to favor the Reds if it came down to bullpens.
Here's Luis Rivera. He doubled off the wall his first time up. Looks at a breaking pitch, and it's in for a strike. You did a pretty good job with Mr. Browning over at Cincinnati when you worked there.
Just give him the ball and head him to the mound. That's all you have to do with guys like that.
Pitch was called a strike. One scoreboard has a ball, the other one a strike. him is called as Hirschbeck. Make sure everyone knows it's 0-1. Ground ball foul down the third base line.
Welch, as kicker did to Walt Weiss, he'll throw that breaking ball where the only thing you can do is chase it outside or pull it foul. You want to leave it in that hitting zone.
And trying to bunt for a base hit is Rivera, and he fouls it off 2 strikes. You saw down the left field line, that barrier, and many times a ball will be hit fair past third base, and it'll glance off that angle of the wall, and that is where a shortstop has to come out and protect that area for the carom.
One of the areas that managers will, in their pregame drills, talk to the fielders about the little nuances of Fenway Park, different angles.
Out of play. Ball and 2 strikes to Luis Rivera. On deck, the top of the order for the Red Sox, Jody Reed.
Unusual, really, for Bob Welch, because he's a high ball pitcher. And I think he's getting a lot of those ground balls on the breaking ball.
Luis Rivera, former Montreal Expo. Fastball is away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rivera found himself as the regular shortstop after Jody Reed moved to second. Marty Barrett began the season as the regular second baseman for Boston. Hasn't played all that much lately. Curveball swung on and missed, strike 3. And Rivera strikes out. That'll be the 3rd strikeout of the game for Welch, and there are 2 gone here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Now you can see Bob Welch beginning to get a little sharper with his pitches. Disrupted the rhythm early in the ball game, but like a lot of successful pitchers, once they get into the middle innings and get command of that breaking ball, they become a little tougher.
Welch's 3 strikeouts have come in the last 3 innings, and 2 away to Jody Reed. 1 for 2. Safe on an infield hit in the 1st inning. Totals are identical. Run, 3 hits and no errors tonight. Ball 1 to Reed. Lansford is playing just about a step and a half, and even with the bag off of third. Looking for Reed to possibly pull the ball. Jody has a good hole on the left side. Weiss is playing deep shortstop.
This is only almost like guard the line defense in the 5th inning, but Jody Reed, for a little guy, exceptional bat speed. He can pull the ball.
There's the hole on the left side, and the pitch is in for the strike, 1-1.
That's how Carney Lansford gets ready. Any ball might be hit his way.
Can't argue with the results he's had at third base. Bases clear, 2 outs, and time called. Crowd is quiet with anticipation. And last night the Red Sox had a 1-0 lead, and with the A's, I would think no lead is a big lead, and right now the score is tied, and you're almost waiting for the other shoe to drop when you're playing this club.
Yeah, and when you play the Oakland A's, you know you're playing a 6-inning ball game, sometimes maybe 7, but their bullpen well rested because of Stewart's 8 innings last night. From the 7th inning on, that'll decide this game.
Took something off the pitch, and it's fouled away. It would look like a straight change to Jody Reed.
See those numbers right there? You wonder why Jody Reed hits so many doubles and is a good hitter in Fenway Park. Quick bat. In fact, last night, when he hit the 3 pop-ups off Dave Stewart, Joe Morgan had said, I knew Stewart had a good fastball last night because Jody Reed hit 3 pop-ups, and normally he pulls fastballs. Tied George Brett for the lead.
Reed was 3rd in the major leagues with doubles last year, so it was no fluke. Ball and 2 strikes to Reed. The infield playing back. Reed, Lansford guarding the line, and a 1-hopper back to Welch. The throw to first in time. A 1-2-3 inning. We've completed 5, and we'll return to Fenway Park after this message and a word from your local station. 1-1 the score, and we move to the 6th inning. Tony La Russa has got to keep himself occupied doing something in the dugout during the game.
Keep the aisles clear, burning a little nervous energy on that bench.
Speaking of nervous energy, Dana Kicker will be facing Canseco, Baines, and McGuire here in the 6th inning. And between innings, Jeff Reardon, there you see him with the beard, went out to the bullpen along with Larry Anderson, so they're well fortified in case they need them now.
And pretty loose.
Canseco, swing and a miss. He has struck out and bounced out tonight.
Kicker with good command of that sweeping breaking ball.
On the fist, looping ball out to right field, will drop safely for a base hit. There was a case, a good pitch by Kicker, and Canseco fought it off, and he's on with a leadoff single.
And an example of the change of style. Early in his career, Jose Canseco was pulling that ball to left field for home runs, but because of the back problem, now that open stance, he's fading the ball, slices this out into right field.
So for the 3rd straight inning, the A's have the leadoff man on, and here's Harold Baines, who has hit the ball sharply twice. Canseco, 19 stolen bases on the season. 1-1 the score in the 6th. Baines is 1 for 2. Red Sox have a pitcher now warming up again in the bullpen. That's Greg Harris, who was up earlier. There goes Canseco, and the hit and run was on, and Baines fouls it off to the left. Good jump that time by Jose.
And another example of how you really cannot guess with La Russa. He doesn't pattern himself with any one particular style of play, because Harold Baines, who's pulled the ball twice off Kicker, you'd think he'd let him sit back and get a pitch to pull, but no, he sends Canseco and tries to hit and run.
Baines has a lot of territory on the right side of the infield. One strike to him with Mark McGuire, right-handed slugger on deck for Oakland. Pitch outside, 1-1. They're into the 6th inning of a 1-1 game. Question is how much longer Dana Kicker can go. Greg Harris is throwing. Got out of a big jam last inning with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Fly ball down the left field line in foul territory and into the crowd. Not much room in foul territory here at Fenway Park, except perhaps behind home. One ball and 2 strikes. Red Sox shortening up their infield on the left side. Reed moves back a step or 2 on the right.
See Pena's subtle little signal there, wants a high fastball.
He got it, and the count is even, 2-2.
Pitchers and catchers use body language, can't holler the signs out, so you'll see those little waves of the hand. Want the ball up, want it in.
Can the A's have an idea that that's the pitch going to be? Because normally Pena is down on the ground crouching when you see him stand up. Might you figure that out?
Too late to tell Baines.
It just misses the outside, and the count is full, 3-2. Baseball Commissioner Fay Vincent on hand tonight to see a pitcher's duel. Last night it was advertised as such. Tonight not so much, but we've got another one. 3-2, Canseco with the lead. He's off, and the pitch is grounded to Reed at 2nd. Over to Rivera for 1. The throw to first in time for the double play. And a tough one.
Boy, what a gutsy play by Jody Reed. He's got to make a quick decision. because he's hanging Louis Rivera out to dry in a tough position. He could get knocked down there at second base. Reed with the quick throw. And Rivera, once he catches it and gets out of the way, plenty of time to double Baines. That's an outstanding double play.
Mark McGwire takes the breaking ball on the inside corner for a strike. And how would you like to have a big guy like Canseco bearing down on you against a little guy like Rivera? 2 down. The bases are empty. And McGwire goes around on that pitch, and it's 0-2 to him.
Again, Kicker with good control of that sweeping slider, and that's what he'll get the right-hand hitters to do.
That was close, and the count is 1-2 to Mark. Two balls and 2 strikes. Crowd on their feet. And a pop-up close to the box seats, and that'll go out of play. The A's have had the leadoff runner on the last 3 innings. They scored their only run in the 4th inning. Kicker shut down the door in the 5th inning, trying to do the same here in the 6th, helped by a double play. And the count to Mark McGwire, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a grounder up the middle, base hit to center field. The Kicker, who is ahead of McGwire 2 strikes, gives up a single. That's the 5th hit of the game for the A's. And you can see now how much that double play helped his cause.
And a nice battle right there. I mean, if you're Dana Kicker, you say, not bad. I held McGwire to a single. But from McGwire's standpoint, that's one thing that Tony La Russa loves to drill his players. Every at-bat, be competitive. Don't give them an easy out. And that's what McGwire did. Hung in, fouled off a lot of tough pitches.
Here's a guy who won't be an easy out, Carney Lansford, who singled 4 straight times in this series before fouling out to Pena his last time up. And there's a line drive into right field, a base hit. Brunansky will get it back. McGwire holds at second base. That's the 3rd hit here in the 6th inning for the A's, and runners at 1st and 2nd for Ron Hasse.
The double play gives Joe Morgan a little false sense of security because they've hit the ball rather well off Kicker, but there are 2 out, and a tough decision, and obviously not a popular one right here.
Joe Morgan coming to the mound. The left-handed hitting Hasse is up. He's got the righty Harris ready to go. He has been up already twice in the bullpen, so he'd be ready. And they're going to go to Greg Harris. Crowd, of course, booing, but they're in support of this great story of Dana Kicker, the veteran 29-year-old rookie, I should say, trying to beat the A's, but Greg Harris is going to come in. And Kicker is going to get a hand when he leaves the mound. And he'll get a standing ovation. Dana Kicker worked 5 2/3 innings, and now Greg Harris, who was the scheduled pitcher in game number 4 out in Oakland, on the mound now to face Ron Hasse with 2 out and runners at 1st and 2nd in a 1-1 game here in the 6th inning. And Harris, who has worn 7 different major league uniforms in his 8-year career, surprise starter this season for Boston. Has not come in relief since April the 21st. Has been a starter most of the year. misses outside, 2-0.
And you see both of those first two pitches. Greg Harris depends on the big overhand curveball. And not accustomed to coming in relief. He's used to getting about a 15-minute warm-up period. So this is a tough situation for a guy who's been a starter all year.
Overall, had a 13-9 record this year. Behind a Hasse, 2 balls and no strikes. McGuire, the runner at second. Lansford on at first with 2 away. And Hasse hits a bounder foul down the right field line. A's have out-hit the Red Sox 6-3. They were out-hitting him last night in the 1-0 Boston lead before the roof caved in on the Sox.
You see the relief pitcher's ERA. That's been a problem. The Boston relievers have the highest ERA in the American League.
2 balls and 1 strike. Line drive, base hit to right field. And here comes Brunansky, and Latchman is going to hold McGuire. McGuire slipped and dives back to third. It was hit too hard, and McGuire, not a speedster, was held up all the way by Rene Latchman, and the bases are loaded.
Now the ball is hit hard, and here's good instincts and reactions by Brunansky. He charges this ball and makes an accurate throw to Pena. And as a result, McGuire has to put on the brakes and slips, just barely gets back to third base.
Bases are loaded. McGuire is the runner at third. Lansford. He's at second. Ron Hasse, who has been on base twice tonight, at first. And Walt Weiss, who was grounded out to first base and took a called third strike, facing Greg Harris with 2 out. Pitch missing inside, ball 1. 4 singles this inning, and after the double play, 3 straight hits to load him up for the A's. Joe Morgan made the decision to go to Harris. Let's see if it pays off. Fastball and a strike, 1-1. And a strike. Jim, it seems that in recent weeks, including this series, Anderson last night, when the Red Sox have gone to the bullpen in long relief, invariably they have walked the first man they faced and got themselves into trouble.
And this is a big pitch here for Greg Harris. He'd like to throw his curveball. That's his best pitch, but he doesn't want to go to 3-1.
And a ground ball hit right at Rivera. Flips to Reed for the force to retire the side. And the A's lead, the bases loaded. It is still 1-1 after 5.5 at Fenway. We've had a lot of dramatic moments so far in this game 2 of the American League Championship Series. 1-1 the score. The A's, with 4 singles last inning, have out-hit the Red Sox 7-3, and now Boston coming up in the last of the 6th. Carlos Quintana facing Bob Welch all the way for the A's. Fastball is in for a strike, and what a gutty pitching performance by Dana Kicker tonight.
And that standing ovation. I mean, here's a guy, 6 years, 7 years in the minor leagues, 29-year-old rookie, never dreamed of making it to the major leagues. Big part of this team in 1990, and what a performance tonight, keeping him in this ball game.
Quintana delivered a sacrifice fly in the 3rd inning for the Red Sox run. Takes a call strike 2 from Welch. Welch seems to be getting a little stronger as he goes on in this game. He had only 2 complete games, though, in the regular season, en route to a 27-6 campaign. 1-2.
He gets better command of that breaking ball. And one thing that went a little unnoticed, Bob Welch has struggled in postseason play, but he won the only game for the A's in the 1988 World Series, or he was the starter in that game they won.
2 balls and 2 strikes, and with tonight's performance, he has set a league championship record with his 7th appearance in the LCS. No stranger to postseason action. Here's the 2-2 to Quintana. Ground ball, big hop to third baseman Carney Lansford, and 1 away in the Red Sox 6th. Here's Wade Boggs. You pointed out last night, left-handed hitters have had great success here in Boston.
And we pointed out why left-hand hitters keep that shoulder in, stride into the ball, and take advantage of the wall.
Ball strike to Boggs, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Called out on strikes. Ground ball up the middle. That'll get through past the diving Mike Gallego. And Boggs is on with the 4th hit of the game for the Red Sox. So the lead run is on with 1 away.
And everything's big in series like this, but a base hit in this inning. Once again, Welch with a little slow reactions on the ball hit up the middle, but everything big in this inning because the Red Sox have to take the lead in the 6th or 7th, or you know who they're going to be looking at down in the Oakland bullpen.
Dennis Eckersley, who came in and loosened up for an inning's work to finish off the victory by Dave Stewart last night. Eckersley is not at the bullpen right now. He'll go out there if they need him. Here's Ellis Burks, grounded out and walked and stole a base. Makes a strike, and a nasty pitch tonight for Welsh.
Got a little bit of a cutting action on that fastball. By cutting action, I mean from a right-hand pitcher, that ball will move slightly away from a right-hand hitter, and that one is about 90 miles an hour.
Burks calls time. Lansford once again playing close to the line at third and in a step. Bunch toward the middle at second and short. Ball and a strike to Ellis Burks. One of those players who fans at times think not putting out the full effort. They don't know Ellis Burks. The numbers he posts and the people in baseball know full well.
Well, he's putting out the effort. He's got just a relaxed style of play.
Did he lay off? He did. And the count is 2-1. Considered the best all-around player on this play.
And even though he's a cleanup hitter, as he looks down at rack slider, Joe Morgan would put the hit and run on. They've got to do something in this inning to try to produce a run.
Red Sox losing last night 9-1. Disastrous 7-run 9th inning for the A's. Broke open a great pitcher's duel. And we have a tight-fought drama again tonight to this point. Runner doesn't go, and the pitch is fouled off back. And that'll even the count. 2-2 to Burks. Native of Vicksburg, Mississippi. Hit 300 last year for the Red Sox. On deck is Mike Greenwell. The A's bullpen has been quiet all night. Welsh all the way. Steps off. And the count runs full. 3-2 to Ellis Burks. Tony La Russa said, I can read my team and tell if they're ready. He says, we may lose. The other club may beat us. We don't want to make mistakes ourselves. And they haven't tonight. The Red Sox have been equal to the task. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out. There goes Boggs. And the pitch is hit in the air to right field. Going back is Canseco. Boggs halfway will have to come back to first. And that's the 2nd out here in the 6th inning. Two down to Mike Greenwell, who's 0 for 2. Greenwell hitless in the series is 0 for 6. He struck out his last time up. Finished strong with a .370 batting average in September. Ball 1. 1-1.
See Welch's pitching pattern right here. Mike Greenwell, good fastball hitter, but one pitch Bob Welch has added in the last 2 years is that forkball, and he'll use it against left-hand hitters down and away, and that's what he's throwing to Greenwell in this situation.
Can't really become a pitcher till you develop that off-speed pitch. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the corner. Fastball in there, 1-2 to Mike Greenwell. With 2 out, Boggs at first. Sox have been out hit 7-4. 85 pitches thus far by the 33-year-old right-hander. They want to appeal to the third base umpire, Vic Voltaggio, but it was a bit high and out of the strike zone.
And a smile by Mike Greenwell. That's the tough pitch you have to try to lay off. Not easy to do. Takes a little strength, really, to check your swing on high fastballs like that. And he does it just in time.
Count is 2-2. 3-2 now to Greenwell. On deck is Evans. If Greenwell can keep it going. McGuire no longer holding Boggs on with 3-2 and 2 out. Boggs will be off on the pitch. Bluff back to the bag. There goes Boggs. The 3-2 pitch fouled off to the left and into the third deck. Bob Welch against Greenwell. Not quite as dramatic as his stare-down confrontation with Reggie Jackson in the '78 World Series.
Classic moment when he struck out Reggie.
There goes Boggs, and the pitch is popped up in foul territory. Chasing it is Lansford, and it's out of play. Lansford, a survivor of a big trade many years ago between the Red Sox and the Angels. Welch against Greenwell. Pitch inside, ball 4. And Greenwell draws a walk. That's the 4th walk given up by Welch. Boggs moves to second.
Now Ron Hassey, watch him lean inside. And he wanted that ball about belt high inside corner. And now with 2 men on, if you're a Red Sox fan in the last month of the season, this is the guy they want to see come up.
Boggs at second, Greenwell at first, Dwight Evans, who has been in this clutch situation countless times in his 18 years with the Red Sox. In it right here in a 1-1 game. 2 out. Fouls off the fastball for a strike. Evans with a double in 2 trips. Of the Red Sox 4 hits, half of them have been for 2 bases. Two balls and a strike to Dwight Evans.
Well, I'm really surprised. A lot of close pitches, but the scouting report on umpire John Hirschbeck, and they all have different strike zones that they establish, but Hirschbeck is known as more of a pitcher's umpire, but he has not been tonight.
Welsh gets a new baseball. Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, with La Russa in the dugout. 2-1 to Dwight Evans, who had the lowest run production in 10 years. Bothered with a bad back. Time called.
Playing that game again. I would expect you'd see Hasse set up outside. This is the situations that Evans will be conscious of the inside part of the plate and be a lot quicker.
Evans sometimes likes to pull. I think he'd like to hit the ball up the middle in this case. If he can, 2-1 pitch. Check swing and a foul off to the right. Count is even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bob Welsh has not pitched a complete game in his last 27 starts. Only 2 this year, and both of those were shutouts.
Of course, when you don't pitch a lot of complete games on the Oakland staff, that can be deceptive because of that great bullpen. They'll bring them in a little quicker than other teams.
Boggs at second. Greenwell at first with 2 out. And once again, and Welsh started his kick. How many times has that happened tonight? And La Russa is angry.
I'm a little more surprised that Welch is not angry, but I think one thing Bob Welch does in games like this, he's trying to fight those emotions that worked against him a couple of years ago.
Ground ball slowly hit the shortstop. Weiss bobbles it. Everybody is safe, and the bases are loaded. A rare error for Walt Weiss, one of the better shortstops in the league.
Here's an opportunity at a key moment in this game. An error is going to give the Red Sox a chance to get a run home.
Walt Weiss had a 23-game errorless streak to end the season, but he boots one here, and Boggs is at third. Greenwell is at second. Evans on at first base. And the batter is Tom Bernansky, who has walked and grounded to short. Breaking ball grounded to Lansford at third, goes to Gallego for the force. And so the A's, who left the bases loaded in the top of the 6th, the Red Sox do the same in the bottom of the 6th. We're still even 1-1.
This is why we said the gap between these two teams is a little bit closer than people would expect, because the Red Sox have won a lot of low-scoring games. The one last night got away from them. But I think Joe Morgan will play this inning as if it's the 9th. You got Harris starting. He's going to get Anderson ready. If he can keep it tie going to the 8th, he'll use Jeff Reardon for 2 innings, even in a tie game. Tomorrow's off.
Here's Ricky Henderson. 0 for 3 tonight. Off-speed breaking ball, misses, 1-0. And speaking of Anderson, he is throwing in the Boston bullpen. He struggled last night and was the losing pitcher. 1-1 the score. We're in the 7th inning. The A's have out-hit the Red Sox 8-4. They out-hit the Sox last night 13-5.
Saw the bullpen with Anderson warming up, but Joe Morgan does not have confidence in Rob Murphy. Bolton was brought into last night's game, but you'd think if he did, he'd have a left-hander up too, because Harold Baines is going to hit after Willie McGee and Jose Canseco.
Fastball up high, 2-0 to Henderson. Henderson with a .291 career batting average. Foul off to the right, 2-1 now. The A's won the season series from the Red Sox 8-4, winning 4 out of 6 in Oakland and 4 out of 6 here at Fenway Park. And there's Babe Ruth. Huh? There's the Bambino that they talk about. Huh?
One extra fan in the stands tonight.
Throw to first base and diving back again is Mike Gallego. Dana Kicker started for the Red Sox. He worked 5 2/3 innings, gave up a run on 6 hits. Greg Harris in relief to finish off the 6th, and here he is in the 7th. Henderson fouls it back. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Harris was 1 2 against Oakland this season, released by the Phillies. Base hit to left field. Greenwell over in a hurry on 1 hop. Will get it back to the infield, and back-to-back singles by Gallego and Henderson, and Joe Morgan's out to the mound. And he may make a pitching change here. Anderson warming up.
Well, the Red Sox have really made good pitches on Ricky Henderson in these 2 games, except that one. That is a ball about belt high in the strike zone that Henderson takes advantage of. Primarily before that, they'd really been keeping that ball down and away from him. And that's a strength of Larry Anderson with that slider.
But once again, the Red Sox middle relief. Harris shaky tonight. Let's see what Anderson shows when we come back to Fenway Park. And the Oakland A's are threatening here in the top of the 7th inning. Nobody out, 2 on. Greg Harris came in and responsible for the base runners, allowed 3 hits in the 3rd of the inning. And in fact, in 3 1/3 inning, the Red Sox bullpen in this series has allowed 12 hits. Larry Anderson didn't fare too well last night, and they hope for better results from him tonight.
Yeah, he is one of the reasons they won the American League East since acquiring him from Houston the end of August. He has done a good job in this situation. Get him out in the 7th and 8th and bring on Jeff Reardon. And this is the exact situation the Red Sox were in last night, and it's a vulnerable area. That's why the guys like Anderson, the so-called setup men, are so important in these 7th and 8th innings.
It's a nail biter for sure. Anderson impressive in the last month of the season.
Now you see him walk over toward Wade Boggs. Right now the Red Sox want to know, they want to be clear as to how they're going to defense the bunt. Willie McGee is going to be asked to sacrifice right here in all probability. Look for Boggs to charge from 3rd. Anderson just wants to know what his responsibility is.
A lot of movement in the infield. And now time is called, and Reed comes in to talk to Anderson.
See, there's about 4 options right here. Jody Reed is explaining. One would be an attempted pickoff and hope that you could get Gallego off. The other would be to charge Boggs. Rivera would go to 3rd, try to nail the lead runner there.
Willie McGee has not had a sacrifice bunt in a couple of years, but he's a dangerous man because if he decides to hit away by chopping down, which is what he likes to do, that could be big trouble for the Red Sox. Fastball taken for a strike. Mike Gallego, the runner at 2nd base. Ricky Henderson on at 1st. Nobody out here in the 7th inning. Rene Latchman, the 3rd base coach, with McGee. On deck is Canseco and then Baines. So a critical inning for the Red Sox, having to go to their 3rd pitcher of the game. Kicker went 5 2/3. Greg Harris didn't get it done, and now it's Anderson. And it's chopped to Rivera, to Reed for 1, the throw to first, safe. McGee gets down the line in a hurry, and he beat the return throw. And Mike Gallego goes to 3rd with 1 out.
A lot of confidence by Tony La Russa and Willie McGee's ability to hit the ball on the ground. And, of course, he trusts his great speed. Reed and Rivera can't turn this any better. It's just the great speed of Willie McGee that ties the play at 1st and enables the A's to have runners at 1st and 3rd with just 1 out and a chance to score. A surprise there that McGee was not asked to sacrifice, but I think it's because of his speed and ability to hit the ball on the ground that you pointed up.
And now the A's are looking for a fly ball. And a guy who can certainly deliver that would be Jose Canseco, who was 1 for 3, singled to right field his last time up. He drove in a run last night. Has an opportunity here. Runners at the corners, 1 out in a 1-1 game in the 7th. Misses 1-0. Two balls and no strikes to Canseco. Pressure time for the 37-year-old veteran right-hander who has toiled for the Phillies, Mariners, and Indians along with the Astros in his 11-year career.
Going to keep Reed and Rivera back at double play depth. They're not going to bring the infield in with Canseco hitting. They'll take a chance on a ground ball, turn 2.
And he falls behind 3-0. Just missed with that slider. 3 balls and no strikes.
Look where this pitch, look where Pena catches it. Again, another example of the rather tight strike zone tonight by John Hirschbeck.
Ball 4. He lost him, and Canseco draws a walk, and the bases are loaded. And the left-handed hitting Harold Baines coming up. Jeff Gray, who had his problems last night for the Red Sox, warming up in the bullpen.
Boy, if it ever points out the vulnerable area and the lack of confidence by Joe Morgan is no left-hander was even asked to warm up to face Harold Baines.
Bolton and Murphy would be the 2 possibles. So here is Baines, who was 1 for 3 with a single. Has hit the ball sharply tonight. Fastball in for the strike. Red Sox have shortened up the infield. Boggs even with the bag at third. There's Wade. Ground ball. Quintana makes the play. A run's going to score. He gets Baines for the out. Anderson covering. But Baines gets the job done and gets an RBI. And scoring is Mike Gallego. And the A's break the tie here in the 7th and take a 2-1 lead.
A good pitch by Anderson, a good play by Quintana. This is his first year at first base. This saves a couple of runs. Granted, they just get 1 out, and the A's pick up 1, which at this stage of the game is major with that bullpen. But this is a run-saving play by Carlos Quintana.
You could have been looking at least 2 runs if that had gotten past Carlos. So Quintana makes the play. The A's take the lead 2-1. And here's Mark McGwire with runners at second and third and 2 out. Ball 1. McGwire 1 for 3. Singled his last time up. That was his first hit of this series. Run is charged to Greg Harris. Anderson falls behind 2-0. He walked Canseco on 4 pitches. Ricky Henderson, cap off on the top step of the dugout. Crowd at Fenway quiet like it was in the latter stages of last night's game. 2-1 now to McGwire.
See the pitches from Anderson. That's the Fenway Park factor, and sometimes the intimidating factor. You don't want to give McGwire anything from the middle of the plate in to pull. So if you're going to make a mistake, it's going to be outside.
Swing and a miss. That's what he did, give him the breaking ball away, and the count is even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Only 187 for Mark McGwire here at Fenway Park, with that beckoning monster in left field. Crowd begins the chant again. Just misses high. And count full 3-2. First base is open. But Carney Lansford is on deck, and Anderson wants to dispose of Mark McGwire here. Play. Count remains 3-2.
You see by that pitch, Pena and Anderson are going to try to make an absolutely perfect pitch to McGwire, because they got a parking place for him at first base. Facing Lansford is not an easy task. They'll try to make McGwire at least chase a pitcher's pitch.
Lansford, excuse me, Jim.
You can almost see him thinking about it right there.
I'm going to say Lansford has been more of a thorn than McGwire in this series. Bob Welch has a lead right now, sitting in the A's dugout. Ray has stopped throwing. He's watching things from the Boston bullpen. Now the payoff pitch. Still 3-2.
Oh, we mentioned competing, and McGwire had a great at-bat against Dana Kicker earlier when he got a single back in the 6th inning. And he's doing the same thing here.
He was the only A's regular not to hit a home run in the World Series against the Giants last year. 3 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. McGee off at third. Canseco, the runner, at second. Him out. The A's lead 2. Anderson strikes out McGwire, but Oakland gets the lead run on Harold Baines. Ground out.
Out a cut fastball moving away, and McGwire swings right over it. And that's been Larry Anderson's specialty.
A's have left 8 men on in the last 4 innings.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 2 of the 1990 American League Championship Series is brought to you by Toyota's quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Valvoline Motor Oil. People who know use Valvoline. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
Back at Fenway Park in Boston, the A's with a run in the 7th. And Dennis Eckersley, this is his kind of game. 2-1 Oakland, gone out to the bullpen in case. And probably a good chance, I would think, that we'll see him.
This is their kind of game, the A's. 2-1, 7th inning.
And Tony Pena leading off against Bob Welch, 0 for 2 tonight. Welch has allowed 4 hits and 1 run. Walked 4, struck out 2. First pitch is in there, that cut fastball for strike 1. Day off tomorrow. Game 3 Tuesday afternoon. Mike Boddicker and Mike Moore, the scheduled pitchers. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Red Sox catcher. Swing and a miss, 1-2. We showed you Eckersley going out to the bullpen, but the setup men, one of the 3 the A's have used to great success this year, is Gene Nelson.
Yeah, none better in baseball than that bullpen. Gene Nelson getting ready for right-hand hitters, and if
there's left-hander Rick Honeycutt.
With Tony La Russa anticipate a left-hand hitter, that's the man that'll get ready. It used to be relief pitchers were just pitchers not good enough to make your starting rotation. Boy, has that changed.
Look what Jeff Torborg did with a bullpen this year. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Digging in is Pena. Todd Burns was another setup man, used to great advantage by Tony La Russa this year. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and in the Red Sox bullpen, the Terminator.
See, Morgan has no choice. A lot of people said, why didn't he bring him in last night? Well, you don't want to bring your closer into a game when you're down and waste him, but in a game like this, he's got to keep it at 2-1. With the day off tomorrow, give his team a chance to win.
Here's the 2-2 pitch to Tony Pena. Stays alive as he fouls it off the end of the bat. The Red Sox had struggled as far as their closers were concerned for quite a while. Gray was effective. And then Reardon came back from back surgery, and no one in the world thought he would pitch again this year. Morgan would like to call on him. Pena followed by Rivera, who's in the on-deck circle, and then the top of the order, Jody Reed. Here's the 2-2. And the count is full, 3-2. This is the way the A's play it defensively.
See Willie McGee shaded over, and you can see the pitching pattern from Welch and Hasse. They keep the ball away from Pena, and most of the time he'll hit that ball to right center and right field. Kind of rare to see a hitter choke up on the bat, but Tony Pena does.
3-2 pitch, ground ball hit to shortstop. Weiss is up with it. On the run, makes the play, and Pena's retired for the third time tonight. One out in the 7th inning, and Rivera's going to go back to the bench. The Red Sox have only one left-handed hitter on the bench, and that's Danny Heap. And they're going to come out with a pinch hitter, Mike Marshall, who delivered a pinch hit single last night for the Red Sox. And Joe Morgan told us, if I want a home run, Marshall will be my guy. If it's a single, it'll be Heap.
Yeah, it really points up the difference again in these two teams. Boston has won with pretty much a set lineup all year and solid starting pitching, but not a lot of options on the bench like Tony La Russa does. Not as many options in the bullpen, and that's probably the two areas that really separate these two ball clubs.
Here's what's left. You can erase Marshall. He's now pinch hitting for Rivera. And Barrett very likely will come in the game in the field.
Kutcher and Romine used primarily for pinch running, and Marzano is the backup catcher.
So here's Mike Marshall, who's been a forgotten man. Quiet from the Mets in late June after going to the Dodgers in an offseason deal for Juan Samuel, deal that really didn't help either team.
It's got to be fun for these two guys, old teammates from the Dodgers, Welsh and Marshall.
One out, nobody on. Drive hit to center field. McGee measures it and makes the catch, and quickly 2 down in the Red Sox 7th inning.
See Willie McGee there. There's a lot of guys wish they could play in one World Series, like Ernie Banks. And you look at Marshall and Welch, who have done it with the Dodgers. Willie McGee, should the A's win, will be in his 4th World Series in 9 years. 3 of them with the Cardinals in the 80s.
And you look at a guy like Ernie Banks and the kind of career he had, never got to play in a World Series. Carney Lansford guarding the line at third. 2 out, nobody on base. Jody Reed, 1 for 3, the batter. Ball 1 outside. Reed safe on an infield hit right off the box in the 1st inning. They bunch up the shortstop Weiss and the second baseman Gallego. Lays off the pitch outside again, 2-0.
They say you have to pitch inside to be successful. You have to throw inside, back hitters off the plate. But tonight we're seeing a good example of using the outside corner and preventing guys from pulling the ball against that wall.
The wind now is picked up and blowing out to left. Fastball, that's in for the strike, and the count is 2-1.
Ricky's a little relaxed posture out there. This is just prior to the pitch.
Fastball on the corner again. You know, last night with Stewart and tonight with Welsh, it looks like both of these pitchers have really gotten stronger and shown better velocity as the game has gone on their fastball.
Yeah, both are good finishers. Welch doesn't have a lot of complete games, but he could. He's lifted in a lot of games that they have big leads and they just bring the bullpen in. Not much above average, that 108 pitches.
It's a fun game, isn't it? Here's the 2-2 pitch. And he gets him on on the outside corner with the breaking ball. Jody Reed complains to home plate umpire John Hirschbeck, and that'll do it. The Red Sox are out in the 7th inning. The A's still lead it 2-1.
Oh, we mentioned John Hirschbeck had a rather tight strike zone tonight, but look at this last pitch to Jody Reed. That's the outside corner, and now look where Ron Hasse catches this pitch. Well outside the strike zone, and as a result of that, the reaction from the Boston bench.
First base umpire Jim Evans spent a lot of time right on the top step of the dugout, as many of the Red Sox, including Clemens, perturbed over that call. So we move to the 8th inning. The A's in front 2-1. Carney Lansford facing Larry Anderson. Fouls the pitch back for a strike. Lansford 2 for 3 with a pair of singles tonight. In fact, Lansford has 5 hits and 8 trips in this series. Off to a great start. Marty Barrett has moved in to play second base. Jody Reed moves over to shortstop. Fouls it back, 2 strikes.
Lansford is one of those players you expect in postseason play that he would be productive. You know, he doesn't get the publicity that a lot of the stars on the Oakland team do, Canseco and McGuire and Stewart and Eckersley. But if you go inside that clubhouse, this is one of their more important members.
Jeff Reardon has been throwing, and he'd be ready if the Red Sox need him. Right now they don't, trailing 2-1. Anderson with a good fastball so far here in the 8th inning. That was 93 miles an hour. Third pitcher of the night for the Red Sox, Dana Kicker, started, worked 5 2/3, and pitched very well in a tough situation tonight. Fouls off the breaking ball, still 0-2.
What's been impressive, I think, in watching this nice low-scoring game is the quality of the at-bats. There hasn't been any go up there, swing at a bad pitch and pop it up, make an easy out. Every at-bat seems to be a battle.
Broken bat looper into right field, charging Bernansky, dives and knocks the ball down, and he'll hold Lansford to a single. But Carney Lansford has 3 hits tonight, had 3 hits last evening, and the leadoff man is on. How many times have we said that tonight for the A's?
And none of them really line drives. But, you know, Joe Morgan could have made excuses and said, hey, Lansford was lucky last night. He just got 3 bloop hits. Bernansky does a good job here of blocking this ball, keep it in front of him. But Morgan says Lansford hits the ball like that all the time. He uses the whole field and just kind of puts it in play.
And last night he had the single to drive in the big run in the 8th inning, and then again in the 9th. And Jeff Reardon's been ready. Morgan is going to call on Reardon now with the team behind 2-1. It's a commentary on the Red Sox relief corps, isn't it? And welcome back to Fenway Park in Boston. We're in the top of the 8th inning. Nobody out. Story of the game thus far, the Red Sox took a 1-0 lead in the 3rd inning. A's tied it in the 4th. And then Baines with a run batted in, despite a great play by Quintana, giving him a 2-1 lead. And now Jeff Reardon has come in. He is the 4th pitcher of the night for the Red Sox to face Ron Hasse with 1 on and none out.
Yeah, Morgan gets second guess for the use of his bullpen, but I can't blame him either night for what he's tried to do. He didn't use Jeff Reardon last night, trying to get some production out of Anderson and Gray.
Looking to bunt, and the pitch, it hits Hasse. He's hit on the foot, and Ron Hasse will be aboard. That's the second A's batter to be hit by a pitch tonight.
Well, you see Hasse called on to sacrifice, squares around, the curveball comes in and just catches him in the knee. Perfectly legitimate as far as not trying to get out of the way. The Fenway fans are saying, hey, he didn't try to get out of the way. As long as you're in that batter's box, you can stand there and let the ball hit you, which Hasse did. Jeff Reardon gambled with a curveball on the first pitch, thinking maybe Hasse was hitting away.
So Hasse's aboard, and moving to second is Lansford, and now with Walt Weiss coming up, great opportunity for Tony La Russa to play the kind of baseball he likes to play here.
Yeah, now you're going to see the Red Sox have to put some kind of a rotation play on and get the lead runner at third, Lansford. They can't afford to give up another run here.
Boggs in on the grass at third, ready to charge at first. Quintana, the pitch, fastball in tight. There you see the shortstop Reed going to third, and Barrett, the second baseman, to first, leaving the whole middle open.
And that's the decision that La Russa can have, pitch to pitch. You might take a Walt Weiss and say, hey, if they're going to put the infielders in motion, maybe I'll let him chop away like Willie McGee did. But I don't think so. With a 2-1 lead, play it pretty basic, sacrifice, move the men up.
2-1 the A's, looking for some insurance runs here in the top of the 8th inning. And the runners go. The hit and run was on, and Weiss, protecting them, fouls off a pitch in on the 5th.
Now there's the decisions La Russa loves in a game. He does not want to be predictable, and he isn't. You know, a lot of times you can sit and watch a team and think with a manager, and they do the same thing time after time. La Russa never does. Bunts last night with Baines. Here's a situation, tells you to bunt, and he doesn't do it.
Told us before game 1, he says, the most fun I get is running a game.
Yep.
Now Pena calls time, will go out to the mound, and a lot of people think it's always dangerous when you have the whole infield moving at the same time.
Well, what that does when you get the infielders moving, just those simple little ground balls become base hits. Well, look at the Boston bullpen, and just to finish off that point about using Reardon, if he used him last night and lost the game, he would not have been able to bring him in tonight had the Red Sox been ahead. Jeff Reardon just coming off back surgery. Don't want to use him 2 nights in a row or for more than 2 innings. But tonight, this game, he has to give himself a chance to win. Joe Morgan does with the day off tomorrow, so he's forced into using Reardon in a situation he'd really rather not.
Now, let's face it, he needed either Greg Harris or Larry Anderson to come through in middle relief so that he could bring Reardon in for maybe an inning.
Well, does that ever point up the difference in the bullpens and the need to have the guys like Honeycutt and Burns and Nelson that can come in and bridge that gap?
Apparently there's dirt in Reardon's cleats, and they're going to
probably the old-fashioned tongue depressor. That's all they use.
They still use that.
Oh, yeah. Some things in baseball never change. They think it's a scientific game. Mentioned the computer approach, but just simple things like that. A little tongue depressor, dig the dirt out. Pitcher, you like to have clay on the mound. You like to have a firm, kind of a tacky substance on the mound because you can dig those spikes in, gives you a little traction going toward the plate.
Was there a mound that you really didn't like to pitch on in your baseball career?
Can't really think from a physical condition standpoint. The best one for years was Dodger Stadium. That's always been the best.
Tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern time, Danny Jackson and Zane Smith. Game 3 of the National League Championship Series, 1-1. Our Game 3 will be Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Boddicker and Moore, the scheduled pitchers. Red Sox trying to draw even and make it 1-1 before they go on the road. The A's trying to take a commanding 2-0 lead, and Reardon steps off the rubber as Barrett bluffs Lansford back to the bag. Weiss 0 for 3 tonight. And the pitch hit down the line, right field. Bernansky coming over and makes the catch. Tagging up is Lansford, tagging up, and going to second is Hasse. As the A's base runners were alert that time on a fly ball that Bernansky caught very close to a home run.
Well, a similar situation the other night when the Red Sox wrapped up the Eastern Division. Reardon on the mound, and Bernansky had to make a sliding catch. That won the division. This is a nice catch against the wall, but it almost serves as a sacrifice because Lansford and Hasse are able to tag up and advance into scoring position. Now, we mentioned the great instincts that Tom Bernansky has. That looks like just a routine catch, but getting a good jump on the ball enables you to make that catch.
And I'm sure Tony La Russa called for a fly ball like that to advance the runners.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Conference in the mound, they had to get some more dirt out of Reardon's cleats. One out now, and runners are at second and third. The Red Sox appear to be bringing their infield in for a play at the plate. They can't afford the A's to get any more runs here.
And you can't walk Gallego to get to Ricky Henderson with the bases loaded, so Joe Morgan will bring the infield in and hope that Reardon can get Gallego to hit a ground ball.
Lansford at third and Hasse at second. And the key man there was Hasse tagging up, because that took the A's out of a double play possibility here. Here's Gallego, 1 for 2 with a single, also hit by a pitch. Breaking ball, and the ball gets away from Pena. He can't find it. Lansford did not advance as Reardon covered the plate. That was a close call for Boston.
And it almost looks like they got a little assist from umpire John Hirschbeck. Tony Pena's been an outstanding defensive catcher, but there have been a lot of balls getting under his glove this year. He doesn't keep the glove down here. The glove comes up, and watch the ball hit John Hirschbeck right on the inside of that right foot. That's what keeps it from going to the backstop. Pena usually very good at getting the body down and the glove, but he comes up a little too quickly there.
Well, the count is ball 1 to Gallego. Breaking ball in for the strike. 1-1 to Mike.
Well, Jeff Reardon, Tony Pena, gutsy call, pitch out, anticipation with the squeeze.
1-1 pitch, and a pop fly right field. Coming on in is Bernansky with 1 out, and he makes the catch. Lansford bluffs, and the throw comes in, and now there are 2 gone here in the 8th inning, and the infield can move back.
Big out and big pitch by Jeff Reardon. Yeah, that's a great story in this days of high-paid athletes. Jeff Reardon underwent back surgery, guaranteed contract. He didn't have to come back this year, but he worked exceptionally hard to come back early enough to help the Red Sox win the division.
Native of Dalton, Massachusetts, wanted to play for the team he rooted for as a kid, the Red Sox. Fenway Park in Boston, Dick Stockton and Jim Cott. The A's leading 2-1, trying to make it 2 straight on the road against the Red Sox in this championship series. We're in the top of the 8th inning, 2 outs, runners at second and third to Ricky Henderson. He takes the strike. Henderson is 1 for 4 tonight, singled his last time up.
Yeah, Ricky looked back, zone's getting a little bigger in the late innings.
Lansford, the runner at third. Hasse at second. That's low. 1-1. Hasse has been on base 3 times tonight. Hit by a pitch, he walked, and he also has a base hit. Breaks outside, 2-1. Willie McGee would be the on-deck hitter. There's McGee. Notice last night Pena was doing a lot of talking to Henderson.
Does a lot of talking to all the hitters. Catchers like to do that. Flashing some signs right there to infielder Marty Barrett. You know, infielders like to know what pitch is coming. Helps them get maybe a half a step one way or the other, a little better jump on the ball if it's a breaking ball or a fastball.
Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss. Took something off that breaking ball, and the count is even.
Now, not the explosive fastball anymore by Jeff Reardon, but still the great curveball. Career active leader in saves with 287.
And the crowd stands again. Big swing on another curveball by Reardon. Count holds 2 balls and 2 strikes. Reardon against Henderson here. Red Sox trying to keep the game a one-run affair here in the 8th. LaRussa, he's looking at a hit and maybe 4-1. High and tight, and we have a full count. Canseco.
Hello, little bow tie right here to Ricky Henderson, just in case you keep looking over the outside corner for that curveball. I'll back you up, says Jeff Reardon. Now he's got him set up for that curveball of the outside corner.
Henderson might be thinking the same thing. Curveball hit in the air, deep to center field. Burks is back on the track, makes the catch to retire the side. And it's still a 2-1 game. And he gave it a ride here.
Well, he hit it well, a little up in the strike zone, but the good speed of Ellis Burks just glides back to the wall. Couple of catches out there that Burks has made right against the wall. Both hit by Ricky Henderson.
Head for the last of the 8th. 2-1 A's. Two to 1 the A's, and we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's Quintana, Boggs, and Burks for the Red Sox. The MetLife blimp travels over 40,000 miles a year to help televise network sporting events around the country. This is quite an event we have tonight.
Well, I'll say.
Quintana drove in the only Red Sox run with a sacrifice line drive in the 3rd inning. He takes strike 1 from Bob Welsh. In the Oakland bullpen, Dennis Eckersley on the left and Rick Honeycutt. And keep in mind, 2 left-handed batters in the next 4 slated to come up for Boston.
Boggs and Greenwell.
And a ground ball hit to shortstop. Routine play for Walt Weiss, and 1 away in the 8th inning. If you're looking at comebacks this year, the Red Sox have rallied to win in 42 games, and that leads the league.
They have really defied statistics. Yes, they lead the league in team batting average, but not many home runs, not many stolen bases.
Boggs fouls the pitch off for a strike. Wade is 1 for 3 with a single. He homered last night to account for the Red Sox run.
You know, big hits from guys like Dewey Evans right there, and Boggs and Bernansky have overcome sometimes the inefficiency of the bullpen in these comeback wins.
1 ball and 1 strike to Boggs. Burks is on deck. Two balls and a strike, and if Greenwell comes up with a man aboard, we may see Honeycutt this inning.
I think we'll see Honeycutt for sure against one of the lefties, and Eckersley getting ready after that.
Ground ball, base hit into right field for Wade Boggs with 1 out. His 2nd straight hit, and the tying run is aboard with 1 out in the 8th. Hit number 5 for Boston.
Now, how does a guy hit 300 year after year? Even though they pitch him primarily away and he goes the other way, they still cannot get inside on him. Quick bat and pulls it through the hole.
Conference at the mound between Hasse and Welsh. And Burks, the batter. Dave Duncan, the pitching coach.
Barring a double play, probably Bob Welch's last hitter, so Hasse wanted to make sure how they were going to go after Ellis Burks.
Burks is 0 for 2 with a walk. Ball 1. And barring a double play, it would be Honeycutt to face Greenwell, and then Eckersley to pitch the 9th. 2-1. A's. Lansford guarding the line at 3rd. 2-0 now. A's have out-hit the Red Sox 10-5.
Ellis Burks, you say 2-0. What's the best pitch I can pull and put the Red Sox on top? A fastball inside. If it's not there, don't swing at it.
And there's a ground ball, base hit to right field. Holding at second base is Boggs. And the Red Sox have 2 runners on and 1 out. And Rick Honeycutt warming up. No movement yet from the A's dugout.
Well, the pitch is outside, but Burke says, hey, I'm more than a home run hitter. I can take the ball the other way, and that's what he does. And with enough authority, Marty Barrett can't get to it.
And here comes Tony La Russa out to the mound, and Rick Honeycutt will be coming in to face the left-handed hitting Mike Greenwell. And a hand for Bob Welch, who goes out. Like Stewart, he pitched the beauty tonight. Rick Honeycutt. And we'll be back. 2-1 the score, and 27-game winner Bob Welch departs here in the 8th inning, with the Red Sox having this potential tying run at second, lead run at first, and left-hander Rick Honeycutt, who tied Dennis Eckersley with the most appearances on the staff with 63, former starter.
And former earned run champion in the American League. And Honeycutt's job, of course, just come in and get Mike Greenwell out. Even if there's no double play, he gets that one key out that will enable Eckersley to come in and face right-hand hitters. Correct one thing there. Boggs' base hit was past Mike Gallego. Just happened to have the tight game here. Had the wrong team in the field.
That happens. Honeycutt has been in the LCS 3 times with the A's, twice with the Dodgers. Here are the runners. Wade Boggs at second. Ellis Burks at first. 1 out, and Mike Greenwell, who is 0 for 2 with a walk.
You mentioned all the batting champions. One thing left-hand hitters could do, even against left-handers like Honeycutt, and Greenwell's good at it, is take that breaking ball the other way.
Right now, the outfield playing straight away for Greenwell. See La Russa moving to the back of that dugout. Lefty versus lefty with 1 out. And a strike. Red Sox have not come through with runners in scoring position so far in this series.
Stewart and Welch and Eckersley had a little something to do with that.
On deck is Dwight Evans, and Eckersley is ready in the A's bullpen. Ground ball back to the mound. Could be 2. Over to Weiss for 1. And he drops the ball. The out is made at second base, and Weiss may be shaken up. He held on long enough for the out, but Walt Weiss is hurt. Greenwell is on at first. And at third base is Boggs, and there are 2 gone. And Ellis Burks really took Walt Weiss out at second base.
And legally, cleanly took him out. What made this play close and probably upset Walt Weiss was Honeycutt hesitated for just a moment and then led Weiss into second base. Now watch the slide by Burks trying to break up the double play. And it looks like when Weiss came down right there on that right knee, Honeycutt with a perfect double play ball, a little bit of a low throw, and then Burks' hard slide keeps Weiss from completing it and lands right on the right knee.
Weiss had an injured rib this season. Kind of twisted his body as he fell to the ground.
Trainer Barry Weinberg out to check it out. Actually, they're working on the left knee, and it appeared that the right one was the one that hit the ground.
Wade Boggs went to third, and the Red Sox have the potential tying run there, and on at first base is Mike Greenwell. It appeared to be a double play. You're right, Honeycutt hesitated, and Walt Weiss See if he can shake it off. Dennis Eckersley will come in to face his former teammate, Dwight Evans. The two of them are very close. We'll be back. So Dennis Eckersley is in to face Dwight Evans, and let's go back 2 years ago to Game 4 of the 1988 League Championship Series. And it was Dennis Eckersley going against another Red Sox hitter, Wade Boggs. And he strikes out Boggs to end the series, and Eckersley was named the series MVP, setting a playoff record with saves in all 4 games. And the Red Sox are trying to avoid a sweep, trailing 1-0 at home. Changes in the infield. Walt Weiss is gone, and now Willie Randolph moves to second base, and switching over to shortstop is Mike Gallego. Runners are at first and third, 2 down in the 8th inning. And the batter is Dwight Evans, 1 for 3 with a double. Bo Jackson is the only right-handed hitter who hit a home run off of Eckersley this year. Gave up only 2.
And if you're going to get a pitch to hit off Eckersley, most of the time it'll be the first one. He can get you out in a hurry.
Well, he won't walk anyone. Swing and a miss on a fastball, and he knew that Eck was going to challenge him on the first pitch.
Little high cheese right here. They know it's coming, but a little bit of unusual motion up in the strike zone gets by him.
Working quickly, Eckersley, and the pitch is fouled back and jumps ahead of Dwight Evans. No balls and 2 strikes. 48 saves for Eckersley. Once a Red Sox pitcher. Boggs at third. Greenwell at first. Strikes him out on 3 pitches to end it. And Dennis Eckersley pitches out of a jam. Set up.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Doesn't take long with Eckersley. All of them in the strike zone.
A's lead 2-1 as we go to the 9th inning.
Welcome back to Boston. Walt Weiss just left with a sprained left knee. He's being examined right now by the doctors. They don't know the seriousness of the injury right now. He will be examined overnight, and his condition will be determined tomorrow for his status on Tuesday. Let's go back upstairs to Dick Stockton.
All right, Jim, thanks for that report. 2-1, we move to the 9th inning. And it'll be Willie McGee, Canseco, and Baines. And McGee trying to bunt for a hit, and the throw not in time off the glove of Quintana. So Willie McGee is safe at first. And the A's looking for an insurance run, as if Eckersley needs it the way he's been pitching.
Great heads-up play by Willie McGee. I mean, with this kind of speed, just get the ball past the pitcher. That's the object. Once you do that with that speed, very little chance for Marty Barrett. Even if Quintana handles the throw, I think McGee is safe.
Second hit for McGee. He had a double and scored a run back in the 4th inning. Here's Jose Canseco, who is 1 for 3 with a single, walked his last time up. Jeff Reardon in his 2nd inning of work, the 4th Boston pitcher of the night. A's lead 2-1. Go to first base.
Base stealing situation, what they try to do with McGee is they will hold the ball. They freeze McGee, and Willie kind of leans over his toes, loses his balance. That's why he gets picked off a great deal.
Ball 1, looking ahead to the Red Sox in the bottom of the 9th inning. It'll be the bottom third of their order. Brunansky, Pena, and Barrett. Appeal to the first base umpire, Jim Evans. Canseco did not go around, and it's a ball 2-0 to Canseco. A's have out-hit the Red Sox 11-6. They had 13 hits last night, and it was a close game till the 9th inning there, till Oakland scored 7 times and won 9-1. Breaking ball misses, and it's now 3-0.
He will be swinging if it's a fastball and in the strike zone.
It was, and he didn't.
But I think he had the option.
Yes, he did. Three balls and a strike. There goes McGee. The pitch taken for a call strike and no throw. And McGee has an uncontested stolen base. And the A's have insurance runner in scoring position.
You see Willie McGee getting the jump on Reardon's move. Look at those short little strides to begin with, and then he stretches them out. No throw by Pena.
So Willie McGee has stolen a base in each of the first 2 games of this series. And the count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Canseco. Outside. So Canseco walks for the 2nd straight time. Runners at first and second, and that'll bring up left-handed hitting Harold Baines.
Bill Fisher going to the telephone. They're not going to go too long with Jeff Reardon. His job was to try to keep it a 2-1 ball game. Really came unglued in last night's 9-1 win. Jeff Gray and Rob Murphy will get up. Murphy, the left-hander.
Baines went around for a strike. Baines tonight has 1 hit in 4 trips and has driven in both Oakland runs.
Show you how Tony La Russa manages just game to game in no set way. Last night, Harold Baines' first sacrifice bunt in 6 years. Here's a bunting situation. Doesn't appear that he's going to do it.
Play, and the count is 0-2, and of course La Russa managed Baines when he was with the White Sox, and the last time he did bunt. Carlton Fisk this year broke Harold Baines' all-time Chicago White Sox home run record. 0-2 with none out. McGee the runner at second, Canseco at first, and a ball hit sharply to center field. Burks is going way back, and it's off his glove. McGee is going to score. Canseco not very far behind. They're going to hold Canseco at third. In at second with a double is Baines. McGee scores, and the A's, as they did last night in the 9th inning, strike again and lead it 3-1.
Well, an 0-2 pitch to Harold Baines in the hitting zone, and Ellis Burks right off the top of his glove. With good speed in center field and a well-timed jump, but just off the tip of the webbing. And a pitch that Jeff Reardon threw in the hitting zone on 0-2, and like last night, the A's taking advantages in the 9th inning to distance the score between the A's and the Red Sox.
Lance Blankenship will go in and run for Baines. Mark McGuire takes a slider for a strike. So Harold Baines, the batting star tonight without question. There's Blankenship for the A's. He has driven in all 3 of their runs. And Oakland has runners at second and third, none out. The infield is in, and McGuire fouls it off to the right. 0-2. Leo trying to come back 1 run against Dennis Eckersley is tough enough. 2 runs, well, that may be out of the realm.
Yeah.
So Baines pays big dividends in game number 2. 1-2 now. And it all started with an alert bunt single by Willie McGee. Another late season acquisition. 2-2 now to McGuire. He's 1 for 4 on the night. An imposing record. You pointed that out last night, Jim. 91-2 when leading after 8 innings.
Only the Mets have a better percentage than that.
Infield in. Up high. 3-2. Reardon runs the count full after getting ahead of McGuire. 0-2. Canseco, the runner at third. Lance Blankenship pinch running at second. Line drive, base hit, left field. Canseco will score. They'll hold Blankenship, and it's a 4-1 game. And this game, very eerily, is a carbon copy, Jim Cott, to last night.
And yes, you can wrap the Boston bullpen, but at the same time, you've got to really give credit to the Oakland hitters. Here's Mark McGuire. That's his second hit of the night, but every at-bat that he's had, he has taken the pitcher into a deep count and taken advantage of getting some good pitches to hit after fouling off some tough pitches.
It is a 4-1 game, and just like last night, the Athletics to this point have 13 hits. They banged out 13 last night. Here's Lansford, who has done damage in both games. He's 3 for 4 tonight, 6 hits in the series. Runners are at first and third, still nobody out, and the infield playing in. Ground ball right at Boggs. Throws to second for 1 to Barrett for the force. Blankenship couldn't go anywhere, and they get McGuire. 1 out. Runners now at first and third.
Just this little hesitation. Wade Boggs wants to make sure Blankenship isn't going home. A quick look, but now he has to wait till Marty Barrett gets to second base. And the only out they can get is the force play. Red Sox with that infield end can't afford to give up any more runs.
1 away, and Ron Hasse rounds it to Quintana. Out at first to home. They get Blankenship for the double play to end the inning. Quintana stepped on the bag, and Pena tags out Blankenship, but the A's pick up 2 more runs, and the Red Sox come up in the last of the ninth, trailing by 3.
The damage to a minimum here for the Red Sox. Nice stop, tag the bag, and then he's got to quickly throw to Pena, and the sweep tag on Blankenship prevents the A's from adding the 5th run. See, if he goes to second base and gets the runner there in a rundown, then Blankenship's run would count. So that little quick reaction by Quintana saves a run.
Quintana, 2 fine plays at first base tonight. But now the Red Sox need some offense, and they need it against a man who doesn't give you an inch, Dennis Eckersley, who came in and struck out Dwight Evans to end the threat with runners at second and third in the 8th. Tomorrow, the National League Championship Series resumes. 3 o'clock Eastern. 1-1 that series is. Pittsburgh, the scene as the Reds go against the Pirates. And Tom Bernansky takes a strike. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Bernansky, Pena, and Marty Barrett, the scheduled hitters. Fastball fouled on the screen, and Eckersley, who struck out Evans on 3 pitches, is ahead of Bernansky 0-2. Teams that have won the first 2 games of a best-of-7 series on the road in postseason. Only twice has a team lost the first 2 at home and come back to win. Royals over the Cardinals in the '85 World Series, and the Mets over the Red Sox in the '86 World Series. Here's the 0-2. Foul ball past rack slider. Bernansky hangs in.
What makes Dennis Eckersley so tough? He doesn't make that big hitter. Watch how quickly the ball comes out of the glove, and the glove is up around the knee area. His outstanding control, but also that little bit of deception, I think. The ball gets on the hitter a little quicker.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. What a smooth motion. And, you know, thinking of Eckersley, I remember Jim Palmer with that overhand delivery, and Ferguson Jenkins, who many years pitched for the Chicago Cubs to great success.
More anguish for Red Sox fans. Very similar to last night's game.
Here's Pena. 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for 6 in the series. Takes strike one. Eckersley has struck out the 2 batters he's faced and jumps ahead of Pena 0-2. This guy's uncanny.
Yeah, ideally, and Steve Carlton used to pitch that way, block out the hitter and just play catch with the catcher. Throw the ball right through the catcher. Eckersley does that about as well as anybody.
Up high, Danny Heap, the only left-handed hitter the Red Sox have left, is swinging a bat in the on-deck circle. He'll bat for Barrett. Play. Another sweeping breaking ball by Eckersley.
And not bad for a guy who didn't really want to go to the bullpen. There was some question 2 years ago whether Eck would be their closer.
How many people could you say this of, that he picked up enough Hall of Fame support, Hall of Fame numbers, after people considered his career over? And that's the case with Eckersley. He was a starter, and he failed as a starter after several years, rejuvenated as a reliever. In the last 3 years, he has been brilliant, and if he does it another year, you got to consider him.
There may be 2 on that ball club. Dave Stewart has those kind of aspirations, and they thought he was washed up.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Pena. Fights it off out of play to the right.
Oh, we mentioned Jeff Reardon, the all-time save leader amongst active players, and there are 3 relievers with 300 saves: Bruce Sutter, Rich Gossage, and Raleigh Fingers.
Another foul out of play. Eckersley has thrown 15 pitches since coming into the game, 14 of them for strikes. Two balls and 2 strikes to the Red Sox catcher. Reaches out, and a ball hit down the right field line, but Canseco playing there makes the catch for out number 2. He was playing Pena, and he's telling the crowd, yelling at him, there are 2 down, folks.
When you've won 9-1 and you got Eckersley on the mound with a 3-run lead, you can smile and have a little fun with the fans. Canseco made some pretty strong statements before this series about this team maybe being the greatest ever put together. They've got to go some to beat those A's teams of the early 70s before they can say that.
Well, Dennis Eckersley said it himself. He said, look, let's win this thing and then we'll talk. Right. Here's Danny Heap, pinch hitting for Marty Barrett. Fastball for a strike. He had back surgery, but he's been in postseason a couple of times in the big show
with the Mets and the Dodgers.
Fastball, and the count is 0-2. One ball and 2 strikes. The A's are looking to win their 10th LCS game in their last 11. The count is 2-2. Pretty good record.
Misses by a lot, doesn't he, when he misses? 2 or 3 inches.
Ground ball hit it twice, and this should do it. And the ball game, Gallego, and the ball game is over. And to say the A's have a commanding lead in this series would be an understatement by a wide margin. They have won the first 2 games at Fenway Park. 4-1 the final score. Bob Welsh